Welcome to the 2017 edition of the first 2018 edition
No,
of the first.
that's not how it works. That's how dates
Uh,
work.
it's
Summing
a,
up
it's,
2017.
it's a really good podcast
Oh,
in 2018,
yeah.
summarizing 2017, which everyone did like a week ago, but we're gonna do it now.
We have families to see.
Yeah, we had a lot of
Mouths
stuff
to
to
feed.
do.
Yeah. Very busy.
I have such a bad throat. I should be able to get through this though.
I think so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to turn more and more ASMR-ish
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing. And I think that's what we need at this time of year. To get to
I don't
sleep
think
on
it's what
those cold
anyone
dark nights.
wants from me, but
What?
I'll give it a go.
Wait, what did you say? I was moving. I was adjusting myself. I was adjusting my seating position.
Don't
I
worry.
completely stopped listening to you.
Yeah, so we're gonna do
The sum
2017
up,
things.
yeah, of media.
The really good
Content.
things from 2017.
Oh, yeah, that works.
The really good media.
No, I like the first one better. Did you think of that before?
The what?
The really good things of 2017. Did you think of that before?
No, I just thought of it.
That's good.
Thank
It
you.
works. I can be on the phone now.
So what are we gonna start with?
Okay, the first thing I have is films.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah, we
that's what I
can
think
go
of
films
first.
first. I feel like we've probably seen quite a lot of the same films,
These are all.
so that should
I've
be
seen
easy to
literally all
talk
of
about.
these. Yeah,
Yeah.
with you.
You've seen all of them?
With you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. I think we're gonna start talking about films you hadn't even seen.
Well, I don't know. We'll get into it.
Okay.
So first off, obviously, is Bye Bye Man. Clearly, number one.
A
I don't know why you're
modern
laughing. It's
classic.
It's a classic.
The
It's a
Bye Bye
modern.
Man.
It's an instant classic.
This is a joke. This is a joke, right?
What do you mean by that?
Did
when
we
you
watch?
say that? No, we haven't seen
Did
that.
you?
That was a secret one that I saw.
Okay.
I really liked how I think every time they said bye to each other, the Bye Bye Man jumped on them or something.
Is that a real thing?
You haven't seen it, so
No,
how
I
would you know? You would have no way of knowing.
Bye Bye Man jumped on them.
And I liked
That's
how,
his thing.
yeah, it jumps on him twice.
Freddy Krueger
And
has the claws. Jason has the mask. Bye Bye Man
has the
jumps on
charisma.
me. He just had that little special something.
Yeah, so it's so nice
We didn't
to
watch the
say
Bye
it
Bye
twice.
Man.
Hey,
For
fine.
God's sake.
Just as scary. Get Out
Sure.
is the film. Not
Did you find
Get
Get Out
Out.
scary?
It's a little thrilling. It's like
It's thrilling.
it's definitely it's a horror movie. It's a horror movie, I think.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, yeah, everyone's kind of what is there left to say about it really?
All right.
But I mean, it was definitely well, it was quite early in the year when it came out, and it was like it's probably the first time we've left a cinema and kind of talked about a film for like an hour.
Suicide Squad. We talked
Okay,
for
yeah,
hours.
in a positive way.
Yeah,
I mean,
like we weren't trying to figure
don't
out
even
Get Out.
fucking talk about Suicide
I'm so
Squad.
sorry. That's the best 2016. I'm so sorry.
We could have filled an entire podcast just talking about that if we were doing it then.
So many
But,
questions.
yeah.
But no, Get Out just had loads of good details.
It was very good, yeah.
Yeah.
Just as a, as a social
Film?
satire, I guess.
Commentary.
Commentary, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it
And
wasn't.
also, it had like kind of a sci-fi twist to it.
Yeah. I liked how that wasn't gone into depth too much. Like they didn't try, and it wasn't very convoluted. It was just like literally they take a brain out and they put a brain in, and there's a bit of hypnosis.
Yeah,
in it.
spoilers, by the way.
Hey, welcome to the
But
really
yeah,
good spoilers.
that's not what I expected at all
No.
from that film. I don't know what I expected, but
Neither do I. I think.
I think that's why it was so interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad that managed to not be in every trailer, because I
Yeah.
think the hypnosis bit was in every trailer.
Yeah. But even that's like, I
Pretty
would
soon
never
on
have
in the
guessed
film.
it would end up like that.
No.
And there's just, yeah, there is so much detail in it that kind of works and
Yeah.
makes its way back around so that it, if you saw it again, you would say, like, oh, that links
Yeah.
up with that. And
Yeah.
from what I remember, I want to see it again because I haven't seen it since then. But
I've seen it Halloween again, and yeah, it's still just as really cool to watch. Like there's different like foreshadowing details and stuff like that.
foreshadowing, yeah.
Foreshadowing.
For sure, foreshadowing.
And like musical the callbacks. Oh no, it's just foreshadowing. It's all the same. Foreshadowing is what I mean, and it's cool, like stuff I didn't notice first time around. And just how like gripping it is and engaging the whole time. It was a good film.
Yeah.
Generally.
Good performances, good film.
Yeah.
One of the best of the year, definitely.
Yeah, it was the first thing I thought of, I think. But it's also, I think my list is in chronological order, actually.
Okay, cool.
So that's useful.
So the next one will be... What is it?
Actually, it's different because I was unsure if it's Moonlight.
Yeah, that would be Moonlight.
But it's not. It's actually Raw. But
really?
Yeah, because it wasn't on the list that I was looking at.
Well, the thing that I did was because we saw Raw after the New Year, I didn't count anything we saw after the New Year.
Films from 2017. Things that came out.
But that is technically from last year.
Yeah.
So I guess that counts.
Yeah. Because I just put another film we saw recently.
Yeah, okay.
So
okay, I
have to talk about it.
If that's the way you're doing it, then that's fine.
Cool.
Wait, so Moonlight was the next one you had?
It wasn't, but yeah, sure. But yeah, like...
Okay.
If I had known that Wikipedia was wrong, it would be the next one, which was also really good.
Yeah.
And beautiful.
Won the Oscar for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Or was it La La Land? Who really knows? I mean, it's one of them.
I'm so sad about that because it deserved to win it. Yeah. And now it's still got people talking about La La Land. Fucking...
I can't remember who it was, but somebody said recently that it would have been so much worse if it had happened the other way around. And I kind of think that there is some truth in that. Like, I think it just would have looked a lot worse if I think people would have been a lot more angry if La La Land had won over that.
Yeah.
Like, by accident.
Yeah. That'd be pretty horrific. So it was kind of a relief, but it's still like great. Now it's that moment is still kind of taken away.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Whatever happens, it took away Barry Jenkins' moment, and that's really sad because he definitely deserved it. It's a good film.
It's beautiful. It's like, so do you need to describe these, or do people have seen
them? Maybe just summarize that a little bit.
Let's say a biographical film about coming of age kind of identity, race obviously, and like
sexuality.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
Of course.
This plays quite a big part in it.
Why did I forget that? Yeah. And I don't know, it's really refreshing to see, like really important film I think. Beautifully done.
It stages it in 3 parts, so you follow this kid who grows up in kind of a tough neighborhood when he's a little kid, and then midway through you kind of see how he is as a teenager, and then you see what kind of adult he becomes, and he's also got this mother who's a drug addict, and just kind of also shows just like the influences around him and how he becomes the person he is and how he deals with being gay, and it's just a really good film.
Yeah, and like everyone growing up around him and stuff.
Yeah.
And the music was really good as well. That really stood out to me, like the orchestral, dramatic music at all times. I think there was a screening in London where, like, screening of the film with a live orchestra, which would have been amazing to go to, because it really...
Yeah, definitely.
It was just... I think I cried 3 times? Twice. More than once.
Yeah.
So that's how I rate that.
Just that, like, even though I've only seen it once, that entire... Obviously, there's spoilers, but the entire end scene where he goes and finds this guy that he sort of got with when he was a teenager, who was working...
His first sexual experience.
Yeah.
I think.
He finds him when he's an adult and kind of goes to his restaurant. And it's like, it just feels so genuine. Like, both of them feel like real people. Like, their performances in that whole kind of third act feel so genuine.
Yeah, it's really...
That's kind of the part that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, it's only like one... Is it just... Wait, for the whole third act, is it pretty much just one night?
I think so, yeah.
It's really... Because every other act has... months or weeks or something. You can't really tell, but like... period of time passes, whereas just with like pretty much one, I think it starts maybe another day, but then it's one
The
night.
majority of it is set of him kind of parking up at the restaurant, and then he kind of goes back with the guy.
Like reunites with him, and that's so tense. It's the most tense part of the film, I think.
It is,
even though there's, I mean, the whole thing is really tense and on edge, I think. But then, for kind of different reasons. But that one's just like you just really want the gratification, like the satisfying ending. And
it's
really
like he
nice.
finally accepts who he is, and it's just such a nice kind of ending to a film that has a lot of
really
rough
horrible
edges to it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. What's yours? Next one?
I don't know. I don't think I did them in order, but the next one I had on the list was Wonder Woman, because we did watch that film.
That wasn't on my list. I forgot
Really?
about that. Yeah, I glazed over that.
Okay. And this it does not seem to have been very divisive this year, but I truly don't understand why it was so popular, really.
Yeah.
Because as much as I think Gal Gadot is like, she was definitely the best part of the film, like Wonder Woman as the whole character.
Who else was in the
she's,
film?
like, perfectly great.
No, the other Amazonians. So the one that was in Princess Bride, and I guess that's it because I don't remember the other one. Her mom was pretty good, I guess, but like I feel like the princess don't sigh
Are they really
at
like
me.
three-dimensional characters though?
Well, no one's a three-dimensional character in the film. I feel like even Wonder Woman's not really.
Yeah,
She
but
starts
I
off-
mean, I believe her as the character. I didn't think she was like stupid.
I think she was lying to me. I thought she was really Wonder Woman,
Really?
but I don't think she was lying. No, I believe her. But I just.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah, I didn't think she was lying.
You didn't think she was
No.
lying?
You think I'm saying I did think she was lying?
You did? Oh, you didn't?
So I really liked the first 20 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I thought that could. I was like ready. I don't like superhero films generally, and I think I say once per podcast. And I really, even the Christmas one, I said. I don't like
Yeah, we
films.
didn't even talk about them
No,
then,
I just
but
put
you
that
just
in.
thought you'd put it out there.
Yeah.
You don't like Christmas fucking
don't.
superhero films, sorry.
I don't like Christmas films either. So Christmas superhero film was a nightmare.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare if they existed.
I know. Yeah, I don't like them because I know I get that they're fun and people like them, but I just find them really boring and irritating. And so the first 20 minutes are set on the Amazonian island.
Yeah, which
What's the
I can
name?
never remember the name of because it's some dumb name.
Yeah, superhero name.
It's a very convoluted name.
Yeah, and they're all goddesses, kind of. They have godlike powers. Basically, it's just 20 minutes of like choreographed horse fighting or like arrow shooting, archery.
Or just like melee with swords.
Yeah, and like that slow motion thing that they keep doing for the rest of the film. But at the time, it was really cool because you kind of want to see it in slow motion because it is so well choreographed.
Yeah.
And the writing is fine. Like it was fine. And then who attacks? Was it the Navy? Was it the war?
It's the second World War?
Yeah.
Is it? Or first? Yeah, second.
Yeah, I think
think.
it's second.
So Germans.
Yes.
I did actually like the way that the kind of the force field, I guess, around the island, like you kind of see exactly how it works. Like he kind of pokes his head through and sees that there isn't just like the horizon. It's like he kind of literally is right on the edge of where this force field is, and he pokes his head through and he can see this massive, like, beautiful island.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was nice.
Yeah, that's a nice visual and everything. It's just that's exactly where it goes boring and it just keeps. So, what's his name? Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Blue eyes.
Yeah.
Goes into.
So. Oh yeah, no, it is him who. Yeah, he like crash lands.
Yeah, he's the first guy that breaks into it and then one's freaking out about it. And then he's followed by the German soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone gets killed, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. Oh, so yeah, the first bit that had me like, okay. She goes off with him to see the world, I think is why she wants to go. To like see the outside world.
Her thinking is that if she kills the god of war,
that was it. Yeah, you're right.
then she'll end the war.
Yes.
That's her kind of thought process.
Yeah, she thinks that there is a god in charge of this war, and it's not just like humans being pitted
Yeah.
against each other. So they're on a boat, and there's just a weird like she asks what sex is, I think, or something like that. Like she asks a really like, a lot of like immature questions,
Yeah.
and it feels really creepy and unnecessary and like intentionally awkward, I guess.
It's
It's kind of
very
like
Born Sexy Yesterday.
yeah, the trope thing.
That
And
kind of trope.
yeah, I just felt really unneeded, and that's when I was like, it's gonna be one of them kind of films, huh? And then
Yeah.
it kept going, and the last 40 minutes of laser fighting
Yeah.
and rock throwing.
I was maybe with it a bit more like further than you were.
Okay.
Like I really the only part that stuck out to me was the part where she kind of runs across no man's land. That was like a really cool moment to me. But uh just the second half really just evolves into when she is fighting David Thewlis at the end. I'm just like, this is shit. This is just like DC, like just
And it could be anything. It could be any characters doing any fighting. It was
yeah.
so boring,
It's like,
generic.
and it also annoyed me because I thought that the point of it was that she was naively going to try and find the god of war.
Yeah.
I think that's who it was. To like get rid of this god of war so that the war would end. And like the whole point is Chris Pine is constantly telling her like that's not true. Like it's much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And then like eventually, no, it actually is the god of war, and she does get rid of him, and then I guess the war ends. So it's like nothing really mattered because it turned out it was just this like
she was right.
omnipotent being that was causing this war when
Yeah.
it wasn't just something political or much more
There's a moment.
ingrained in society than that.
Yeah, but there's a
So it's
moment
dumb.
when she's talking. I think she's talking to David. No, wait. Oh no. So there was this like German general who she was like, "That's the guy. That's the god of war. I'm gonna kill him. God of hate. God of wrath.
Something. Wait, let me see.
Kronos.
I don't think it's
TM. She's talking to him. When she sees him on top of like the watchtower, she's like, okay, that's the guy. Kill him. Everything's fine. Kills him, and then she looks around, people are still fighting. And that was when I was like, interesting. Maybe so this is where she realizes that actually people are inherent, like can be just evil. And you think maybe this will be a good film, and then no, then she does actually fight an actual god, and they just
it's Ares,
oh,
the god of war.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
you're right. It doesn't make sense. Why would they? I thought the whole point of the film was that it's not a god that is responsible for this. That would have made much more sense.
What was the point of like what was the message? So there wasn't any message. Basically, there wasn't any like. I guess it doesn't have to be, but it'd be cool if there was.
And it's like I don't know if it's kind of like risky to say that I feel like people wanted to enjoy it so much that they felt like they did.
Yeah.
And also because it's such obviously it's like such a female empowerment kind of film.
Yeah, she's the hero.
It almost feels like you can't say it's bad because there's nothing wrong with her performance or anything. She's I mean, of all the DC films that have come out recently, it's probably the best one.
Yeah.
But that's not saying much, is the thing.
No.
It's still not very good. And,
yeah, like against other good films.
Yeah, I feel like if there wasn't the female empowerment thing behind it, it wouldn't have been very good.
No, if
done very well.
No,
even.
If DC hadn't just thrown out a lot of shit films before it, and if there wasn't so much hype around it, and if it wasn't Gal Gadot, I think it would have done bad. So I'm glad that it did so well because now women will get more chances playing superheroes and like leads in films because they're like, hey, it worked when people didn't think it worked anyway. Was it Catwoman or something that I feel like I read that they tried it with Catwoman and then it like.
Well, yeah,
did really
the Halle
badly.
Berry one did very badly.
Yeah, so that I kind of mind. So great that worked, and now they'll get more like parts.
Also, I think this is the like highest grossing female directed film ever.
Oh, of course,
as well,
director,
which
yeah.
is also like a good thing, but
yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that.
So a film.
So I just didn't really understand
No.
why I felt like that was a bit of a
Overhyped. Maybe.
yeah, like
Perhaps.
genuinely, like I have no interest in seeing it again, and it's
Nope.
not because I have any kind of prejudice against like
You're a
women or
misogynist,
anything. I'm
perhaps?
not even a
No.
misogynist. I'm not even.
I know. I don't know
Yeah,
about
I don't
that.
want to see
I don't know
it. I
about that.
must be. I
I guess that's
guess.
it. I guess that's
I
the one.
guess I must be. I must hate women.
You hate wonder.
I hate
You hate
wonder.
all.
I hate
You hate
wondering.
having joy in life. Yeah, I don't care about it. I was counting ceiling tiles towards the end of it
Yeah.
because like I just need some kind of visual stimulation. I need something because it's not giving me it. But I'm okay. I'm glad it was successful. Glad people liked it. I
Yeah.
don't care about
I
it.
hope it paves the way for better films.
Yeah, that's a positive outlook on it. That works. I have film, but it's not. It's not the chronology.
Okay.
It is the chronology. It's not
Yeah.
your chronology.
Maybe I'll have it.
Raw.
Oh yeah, I
That's the
didn't
next
have
one.
that, but
Okay.
yeah.
We saw that recently,
Yeah.
and
What do you
it
think
was
about
good.
it now that you've had some time to think about
Process
it?
it. I actually did like it. I did like it. I
Really?
don't think I need to watch it again. It's one of
Yeah.
them kind of films. Like it was good to watch while you're watching it.
Mhm.
Like, um, unexpected. No, was it? Was unexpected?
Um. Well, from what I'd heard about it, it was very, I don't know, graphic and kind of unsettling,
Like
maybe
shocking.
kind of a bit stomach churning, which I think it kind of is.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it's a bit overhyped. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was interesting. I thought
Yeah.
it was, 'cause it's just about a girl who is going to college and she realizes that she's kind of thrusted into this kind of fraternity, I guess, of like people
Traditions.
yeah, like some kind of weird tradition where people
The first years, or like the rookies,
yeah,
newbies, whatever. Like the first week,
freshers,
yeah, these words
yeah,
are like rounded up and forced to eat raw meat,
yeah.
the titular meat,
Mhm.
and um, and then
The titular character is eaten in the
yeah,
first 20
yeah,
minutes.
spoilers, and then get like blood thrown on them and stuff like that. She's vegetarian,
Yeah,
also her whole family's
yeah.
vegetarian.
And it's a veterinary college.
Yeah,
So it's all kind of based around this idea of, uh, I guess, like, dead meat, I
yeah.
guess, being around
I
a
think
lot,
the
and,
hip hop.
like, corpses.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some either vegan undertones or some kind of it addresses the hypocrisy of like being vets but also eating meat at some like there's a few
Yeah,
conversations that just kind of happen in passing with other people that that's interesting. Yeah, they have a few conversations where like she compares raping an at trigger warning raping an animal to a woman and then they react like I think the reaction of the people is kind of left. You're not sure how to react to that because no one else is either,
mm,
and she like questions. Yeah, and then she's like, "Why is that's why we're at veterinary school, isn't it?" Like, so there's some kind of undertone about caring for animals as much as caring for humans, and then, but then she also is a cannibal. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah,
And
because
then
she
eating
starts the film as a
people.
vegetarian and ends up being a full-on cannibal.
Yeah.
And her sister goes to the same college, and it essentially, spoilers, ends with them having a fight where they're kind of taking chunks out of each other and like biting each other, and
Yeah.
like it's a really aggressive fight, and
Like maintaining eye contact while just like biting into each other's arm, which
yeah,
for a very lingering amount of
it's
time.
a very aggressive and like uh very not crude, but like just very
Not suggestive either. That's not
it's
some
very
of these words. Disturbing.
I guess it's
Visceral.
pretty raw.
All
That's
right.
what I want to say.
Yeah.
It's very very visceral, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, there's just
Mm.
a lot of. They want to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think they do that. I think the plot was fine. I think the plot was okay. There
Yeah.
are some holes. There are some. First of all, the whole thing starts because her sister cut an entire part of her own finger off by accident with a pair of
Whilst trying
scissors.
to wax her sister's vagina.
Yeah, like
That's how
isn't
it started.
yeah, they're in the
There's no
boardroom.
shying. There's no shying away from it. There's no
No, but
being around the bush.
thanks. Thank you for that.
That's just how it
Upsetting.
started, and
Uh-huh.
that's how I'm gonna phrase it.
Great. It's not that I'm like shocked that that is not like, oh my gosh, what? It's not like that. It's just like really like you could have like that's
It was a bit of a silly way for
it's
it
really
to happen.
yeah, it's silly,
Yeah.
it's convoluted, doesn't make any
And
sense.
the weirdness around it is that like she not only is becoming like a cannibal, it's like when she's around blood and dead things, it's like she can't stop herself from wanting to eat it. Because there's a
Yeah.
part where she gets drunk with her sister at a party, and someone's filming it on their phone, and the main girl doesn't remember that her sister's kind of baiting her with this corpse.
Where are the
really
adults?
fucked up.
That's the other thing that reminds me. Where is the
Yeah,
security,
it's
the
also
adults?
like the most poorly run uni in the world.
Yeah, that must have got like 20% satisfaction on unistats.com sponsored. Hashtag sponsored.
That's a sponsor of the show, by the way.
Yeah.
Unistats. Go to unistats.com, get your
Go.
discount code. Really good podcast.
Hey.
Go to unistats.
Yeah. Take education.
Get a discount on your education.
And your whole
Get $2,000 off.
Take we promise it. You can
That's a
quote us on it.
guarantee.
Yeah.
Sue us.
You can quote tell what's her name? Margaret? Teresa.
Tell
You tell
Margaret.
Teresa. It's not gonna be that much anymore. It's okay. There are no adults. Like they can just go to any part of the. There's a morgue on the campus, I guess, because it's a veterinary and a medicine. I think it's also like a human medicine
Medical
place,
college.
big
Yeah.
place, and so I guess that'll be on site. Sure, you can't just walk into a morgue and just open a shelf
Apparently
and
you
get a
can.
body out. You can't.
Apparently that's allowed.
It's not a library
I
of
think
dead
it's allowed,
people.
yeah.
No, that doesn't. Even in a library, you need a library card. You need an ID to get into your. Maybe I don't know about your uni, but for mine you do. So surely you need some kind of identification.
Did you
or
not have free access to your morgue at your university?
my art university?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. I actually got sent to tell you I've been eating dead bodies for 3 years.
Are you serious?
No. I just don't understand why they got away with. What's a film? That's why. That's why they got away with it.
Because otherwise there wouldn't have been a film.
And they needed things to happen.
But yeah, overall I don't think it was amazing. Still interesting, still like not really anything like I've seen before, so that's
Yeah.
always a good thing to me.
Definitely watchable. Like the finger thing
Yeah.
didn't ruin it. It made me yell a bit.
I don't think I was ever bored.
No.
I was always kind of like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
But
Really good at building tension, all that.
yeah.
Like the writing, I think was good. I think generally, I'm always worried when it's like teens or like young adults.
Yeah.
That the dialogue's gonna be really cringy and upsetting. But it was fine. I think they all spoke like humans. Generally. I think
Yeah.
there was a few lines, but I don't know. It was also like French, and maybe some stuff gets lost in translation.
Mhm.
But it was good. I'm
Sure,
gonna
yeah.
end every review of these songs with, it was good.
It was good.
It
Yeah.
was. Unless it's Wonder Woman. But I enjoyed it. Would recommend it. Don't need to see it again.
Wonder Woman.
Raw.
Okay.
Wonder. Wonder. Wonder
Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman.
I don't know who that is. Carry on with the next one.
So I go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do one that you haven't seen,
No.
which is Dunkirk,
Just sit out of this one, I guess.
which was really, really good. It's a really good film. You've seen a lot
There's
of.
like 4 reallys.
Yeah, I
Sure.
know. There aren't
Oh my
even.
gosh.
There's not even 2 reallys in the fucking title of our podcast.
Oh right. I went of Dunkirk. Like yeah.
Of Dunkirk. Really, really Dunkirk.
You've really done it now, Kirk.
Alright.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of Christopher Nolan films, and you know,
Yeah.
he's just kind of like a master filmmaker of this age, and
It's pretty good, yeah.
it's
It's alright.
definitely one of the best kind of war films that I've seen, and it does it in like without really even showing any blood or any kind of violence, really. It's like it's all about the tension, and the tension is constantly rising from the very first scene right to the end. Like you really feel like it's trying to emulate the feeling that you are not safe at any point. Like you really, it's like almost simulating, um, how they're feeling when, because even in moments in the film where you know sometimes the tension does have to die down a bit so that you have like a tiny break, but the break might last only 30 seconds before something else happens. And those moments where you think everything's fine feel so much more rewarding because you're like, oh, finally, like we can just relax for a second. But then it all ramps up again, and like it really kind of makes you feel like by the end, like I am like I even though there isn't a lot of quote unquote character development, there it feels rewarding
Yeah.
just to see.
Like, you don't really need that.
Yeah, it's almost as if like you're rooting for the British, and that's the character. Like all the
Yeah.
soldiers and all the citizens, and the well, there's French as well because there's Dunkirk. Yeah, you're rooting for a certain side basically,
Yeah.
and I mean, you barely even see any German soldiers in it at all, but
You
you
just see like the effects of the sort of like bombs and stuff.
you mainly see planes, German planes. That's about it.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of like gunfire, but you never see them. So it makes it feel even more like you're seeing it from, our perspective, from our side. And yeah, and a lot of it is to do with Hans Zimmer's
Is he in this?
soundtrack.
Is he in the soundtrack as well?
He
They're
does
best
the
friends.
soundtrack, yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah, as he does for every
Every
Christopher
single
Nolan film.
Oh.
Yeah, the soundtrack is just unbelievably intense and like really goes well with the film. And it's just the way that it's shot, the way that the performances are done. Harry Styles is in it, and everyone kind of thought that's a bit risky to put him in it, but he's not that bad. You don't really think about the fact that it's him.
Yeah.
And he's quite a central character as well.
Yeah.
But as I say, you really don't. To me, it really didn't feel like I was rooting for any particular person. It was like I'm just rooting for our side. And the more people from the French English side that are getting through this, the more I feel like.
Yeah.
That.
You're making it out like it's a relief for each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels. I feel like someone's winning if the side of good is winning.
Yeah. So interesting. Like going into it, you already know everything you need to know about it. Is that it's the war.
Yeah.
The English are in it. You want the English to win. So he's kind of got away with that.
Well, you just want them to get away from Dunkirk because one of the very first things you see is a English soldier pick up a flyer, which is like a propaganda flyer that says something like we surround you or something, and it's like all German kind of
camps owned.
Yeah, like
borders.
not
settlements.
Yeah, all kind of German where the Germans have invaded.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like all arrows pointing inwards towards this small piece of land where they are basically. So yeah, you're really just thinking, please just can these people just like catch a break? Can they just get back to England? Is what you want. Because every time they try, it just gets completely fucked up.
Oh god. So do you think I would like it? Because that sounds quite Game of Thrones-ish to me. Is like every time you just want this one character to have a break and have just be okay.
I don't think it's quite that bad because I think with Game of Thrones is that you get a very visceral, very like violent kind of like really horrible things happen to good people in that, and with this it's kind of like bad things do happen, but
it's not like every single time is a massive horrible.
No, yeah. It's
decapitating.
more just like you can't even. You just have to keep watching because you can't even process everything that's happening.
Yeah.
Like you just, you know, yeah. It's not. You don't really. It's hard to describe. But I think you would like it. I think it's a very simple in a lot of ways because
That's good.
there's not a lot of dialogue and it's as I said it's mainly just it's following these soldiers just trying to get back to
Yeah.
Britain and
I can follow that.
yeah
That makes sense to me.
yeah we should watch it. It's really good.
Okay, yeah. It's one. I feel like I say this about every film, but I wish I'd seen that in cinema because that would have been
Yeah,
a lot more impactful.
that is the only film I think that I wish I had seen in the cinema.
Yeah.
Because everyone said that you have to, and I bet it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Because like all the surround sound and everything
Yeah.
would have been so good.
I think that, and maybe I would have liked La La Land. That came out in 2017.
Did
Was
it?
it? Did it? Wait, it did, right? It did.
Oh yeah, no, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
You made me doubt myself for like 2 seconds. I think, yeah, because that. And the Moonlight
Yeah,
thing.
we didn't watch a great version of that.
No, and I think that's partly why I was not that impressed. I think I might have liked it just a bit, but I still have my like core problems with that wouldn't have been fixed by watching it in a cinema. So probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not first. And that's my review of La La Land. My next one is you saw this T2 Trainspotting.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that came out.
Yeah.
That was good. That was the beginning of the year as well, wasn't it?
I think that was this year. Yeah. Last year.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then the beginning, like so
The
right
very
at the
beginning.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
I think most of my films are right at the beginning. All of them, pretty much, apart from all the ones I liked were right at the beginning, and then there's only one that came out right at the end that I liked. And alright, T2. Okay, I haven't seen it since, and I think if it was on TV or something like that, I might watch it, but it was really cool to watch in a cinema. It was very fast paced from like the second it goes, like barrage of like, okay, I'd compare it to Suicide Squad in that a very fast paced barrage of music. Wait.
It's dangerous territory.
Wait. And a barrage of music, and then I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
A lot of actually it's kind of pretty similar. Like in terms of editing, it's barrage of music and barrage.
What else is it though?
It's barrage of music.
Barrage of music.
It's barrage of music. And like editing over the
Barrage of music.
It's barrage for music. Okay, so this like on-screen text going over, like
Was there
interfering
on-screen
with
text?
the. Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah. A bit.
I remember that in the first one.
No, there is like
Oh.
maybe not. No, I think there is. There's like so the visuals, like the I don't know, visual effects, I guess, like
Yeah.
are interfering with the people. The live action is like a weird.
Right. Yeah.
It's like weaving in and out of the act. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. I didn't do a film degree.
It is kind of similar to Danny Boyle's editing of the first one. I think. I don't know if he edited it, but yeah, just the way that he plays with the visuals is very specifically. It's
Boylesque.
It's Boylesque. Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing the fitness regime and dance and fitness regime. It's based off Boylesque dances.
Boylesque. Nice.
It's hard to describe because I don't know what the term is, but like it's like when in films, like the shitty version of film is when someone's texting and then the text pops up on the screen.
Right. Yeah.
That, but not that. I think that might happen at some point. But
I think you could just put that under editing, really. Because it's not cinematography.
But that's what I call it, text, or what I call it, a visual effect. Like it's
visual effects
really
editing.
Vague.
Yeah,
that seems really
it's
vague.
all stuff that you do in post.
Yeah, but when it like goes in and out, it's not just like.
You're thinking of a very specific thing. You're thinking about when text goes in and out of
people, like,
a shot.
It looks like it's amongst. So like if it was a crowd,
it's like
amongst
the
crowd.
scene.
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean.
That's just
VFX
just
in the foreground.
or editing.
All right, I'm trying to. This is. If you haven't seen it, it's hard to describe specifically what that is. Because I could say the editing is really good, but like that could mean the pace of it or like the way the shots. So, the color grading.
It's got a very
Snappy.
The visual style of it is it flows very well. It's very snappy, very works very well with the pace
Yeah.
of the film. It's very fast paced, just like the first one.
Yeah.
It
aggressively.
starts, I think, almost like the same way, really. Well, no, it doesn't start with the choose life thing. That happens like halfway through.
Yeah.
He does like a whole
Oh, yeah, that's how the
new
first one starts.
monologue. Yeah.
Okay, thinking about it, I do have some qualms.
Yeah.
I think generally watching it. Oh wait, before the qualms, another positive is that I felt like watching a play because of how much they use like the lighting and scenes, and so there'd be a lot like the same pretty small group in different scenes. Specifically the last bit where spoilers. I'd love to know the names of people sometimes. The bad guy.
So there's Spud. There's
Ewan McGregor.
Sick Boy. I can never remember what Ewan McGregor's name is in this fucking film.
No. It's Tom.
There's the angry guy.
The angry man is thinking of the
Yeah.
mustache.
I can't
He's
remember his
like
name.
the villain. He's the villain of this film because Ewan McGregor screws them over at the end of Trainspotting 1 by stealing the money, and he gives half of it to Spud, I think, or like a big.
He gives
amount?
some of it to Spud. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So now basically he's been on the run from this group, specifically the angry man, this whole time, and now he looks. So it starts with him like on a treadmill, but he has like a heart attack, I think, which is like really sudden and kind of not graphic, but like unexpected. And then so it's insinuated that he has got his life together a little bit, and then it slowly kind of gets dragged back into it throughout this film. But at the end, the bad guy who Josh is looking at right now.
Bigby.
Okay. Big boy. Is the end. Bigby is kind of cornered in an abandoned pub.
Yeah, it's like above a pub, I think.
Above a pub.
Above a pub.
And so you got all this lighting coming in, and then sound was used really well. I think I remember in the scene, like there's a lot of kind of like ambient sound effects, but with I think there's like remixes of the songs that were used in Trainspotting 1, and like with
the remix of Born Slippy is kind of like interweaved into a lot of the scenes, like kind of in the background almost, kind of like echoey.
Yeah, that's what feels more theatrical because it feels like it has a score, like has a what's that word when it refrain? Yeah. Like it just keeps going back. Motif, all these words. And I really liked all that part of it. I kind of like when, I just felt like it could have been on stage.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of big long monologues and, I don't know, just standoffs and confrontations.
Yeah.
And I really liked all that. I think it just, so there was a lot of calling back to the first Trainspotting, which I think was fine. I don't think it was overused. Like, it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't it wasn't like Home Alone 2 just doing Trainspotting. Kevin McAllister taking heroin.
Hello, he's Home Alone.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like Home Alone 2 trying to be Home Alone 1. It was a different film, but it calls back to the first one in a nice way. I think in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
feels like a tribute to the first one as well.
Yeah,
it replays
definitely.
a lot of the footage, doesn't it? Like.
Yeah, it even uses footage from it as well.
Yeah, it uses so much of it, but not in a way that's like a lazy reusing. I don't think. I think it's just like a sentimental kind of reusing.
Yeah. Cool. And it seems like thematically it's a lot about like nostalgia and kind of getting older and looking into the past and kind of feeling like, what am I doing with my life, sort of thing, and I guess relapsing to a certain extent. Yeah. That was one thing that did kind of annoy me about it, was the fact that they all take heroin again at some point. And that's just kind of brushed over. Like, that would be a really big deal in your life if you had quit heroin and then like just took it again. That was the whole point. Like, not that silly. The whole point of the first one is that it's hard to not do heroin. Yeah, that was the whole point of the first one. It's the like trying to quit heroin, and then he just does it at some point, and it's like, I guess we're just gonna forget about that. Yeah, the next scene he's fine. That was. Maybe it's insinuated that he's older than now, so it's like easy. Maybe he can just do it once. Yeah.
maybe once.
Yeah.
That's
Not
on the
even
ad
twice.
campaigns. Yeah. Definitely not even 3 times. Definitely not that one. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's kind of weird.
Mm.
I think nothing annoyed me. It's just what that stood out to me was the amount of like Snapchat and Instagram-esque software they're
Yeah.
using, because I guess they're trying to be. It was set in
Trying to be
modern
modern.
day, and
Yeah.
it's hard not to do a film in modern day without including social media. I get
Yeah.
that, but it's like a whole scene. I think when they're doing heroin or when they're getting drunk or something like that, where they're like using filters on Snapchat and like taking pictures of themselves on Instagram or something like that, but like a
Yeah.
fake version of that.
Yeah.
And that felt kind of weird and jarring. I guess it's like, oh, I don't know what
Yeah.
it's for.
It's almost like you don't want to see those characters doing that because you see them as like those characters in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like
Seeing them
it
dragged
just
into now.
seems
Not right.
weird.
Yeah, unnecessary. I think there is other ways to denote the fact that it's now as opposed to using a smartphone. Like
Yeah.
could have just gone
You
to.
would have thought they would really not be into that kind of thing
Yeah,
because
that too. Like 50.
they'd be like, fuck all that Instagram shit. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, they say that in Scottish, and
yeah,
then what? They say that, but in Scottish.
they would, yeah. You're trying to make me do it in Scottish.
No. I look asking what I said, and then yeah, it just didn't seem necessary for the characters. I don't know. I don't like it when any film uses fake Instagram and fake Snapchat.
Yeah.
Feels kind of like you didn't need to do it. If you can't get the rights to it, just don't.
No, yeah, I
Don't even
know.
bother. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. But apart from that, it's not really a big gripe with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was a good film.
I just like the way with his editing, like the way that when they're kind of the point that I remember is when I think it's just a really short point where they're watching or playing football, and it's like I think one of them scores a goal, and then he kind of does like one of those like knee slides
Yeah.
across the ground, and because of like how he feels, it's like suddenly the shot is like in a massive stadium, and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
it's a very like the way it's shot is so kind of reflective of how people feel,
Yeah.
and even the part where they take heroin, because I think they only do it once. There's like a projection of something kind of going. It's a very weird shot because they're kind of
Forgotten
sitting
so
next to a
much.
wall, and there's something being projected onto the wall, and it's kind of, I think it's like a slowed down version of Born Slippy, and it's like
Yeah.
it's a
I remember that
really
bit.
messes with your senses kind of
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah. I remember
Um,
what it was. It wasn't from the first one, was it? It was anything like any footage from the first one?
no, I don't
No.
think so. I
It
think
was
it
just
was,
abstract.
yeah, it
Kind
might
of.
have been like clouds or something,
Oh,
or like
maybe.
some
Yeah.
kind of sky. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember,
Kind
but
of remember that. A lot happens.
yeah.
That was cool. Yeah, it is very much showing. It's very internal perspective
Mm.
of the characters, basically what you just said.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like when films do that.
Ultimately, I'm just glad it wasn't Anchorman 2. It was like
How could it? How could it have been?
it has a reason to exist.
Oh yeah. Oh
Is
okay.
what
Yeah.
ultimately
Yeah. It has its place in the world.
they did put Will Ferrell in instead of Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, like what do you mean? Like they didn't go for the tone of Anchorman 2.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant.
It's
It
like,
should have been a comedy. It should have been a
amazing.
70s
Yeah, a 70s
newsroom
sequel
comedy.
to the 90s hit. I'm just googling what the reviews were because
I think they were pretty good. Relatively
I think there were
good.
some bad ones.
I'm sure there were some bad ones. It's obviously never going to match up to the
No.
first one, but it was like
No, yeah, I guess that was pretty iconic. But okay, so it's got 79% on Rotten Tomatoes,
mhm.
which I think is about right if I remember what
Yeah,
was
that's not
saying about
terrible.
it. No.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, like I think I just didn't hear that many people talking about it in general. Is what
Yeah,
it is.
I didn't.
I
And
feel
of the people who did, I heard them just kind of say, "Oh yeah, it's good. It's really good."
yeah, which they're right. It got
Yeah.
awards and nomination apparently. Wait, did it? Oh, it's won BAFTAs. Won 3
Oh,
BAFTAs
cool.
for best feature film, best direction, and Ewan. There's 2 Ewans. Scottish.
Is that?
Yeah. Ewan Bremmer. one. He might be Bigby.
Okay, yeah.
Wait,
He was pretty good in that film. He's
wait,
a good character.
He might not be though. He's billed second. Oh no, Spud.
Oh, right,
He
okay.
has a really big role in it.
He's
doesn't he?
quite crucial in it, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it deserves all those things.
Mhm.
So I liked it.
Yeah.
What's your one?
The next one I have is another film that you haven't seen,
Okay.
which is Logan.
Okay. Ah.
And Logan did come out 2017, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, just really, really good, really good case for why superhero films should be treated more maturely and for a mature audience. And
By the people making it or by the people watching it?
well, the people making it and watching it,
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, before this, it was really, I think it was just Deadpool that had a anything above like a 12A. I think this was a 15. Yeah, it's like it's very sweary and gory, but it feels like it should be. I mean, Wolverine as a character has always felt like he should be doing, like, or like whenever he. I think the closest you ever really got to seeing him actually doing anything close to what he does in the comics is, I think there's a scene in X-Men 2 where he like stabs someone up against a fridge. But you don't see any blood or anything. Like, you never really see any blood. You just kind of see him slash at people, and then they kind of, like, go away. But in this, like, you see him do it in, like, slow motion, and you see the knives, like, go through people's faces and stuff. And it's like, it just feels more like that's what the character should be. Like, he's this really kind of mess up character who has, like, has, like, this bad... he's just drinking all the time and just trying to, he's aging now, so his healing isn't working as well, and he's just working as a limo driver on the border of Mexico, I think. And Stephen Merchant plays some guy who can't go in the sunlight. I can't remember what his name was. Stephen Merchant as Edward Cullen.
That blows my mind still that Stephen Merchant is in this as a serious character.
And he's pretty good in it as well. I can't remember what his name is. It's so close. Caliban.
Okay.
Thank you for telling me. And then this kid comes along who has the same powers as Wolverine, and she's really good as well. She like doesn't really talk much because she's Spanish, I think. Yeah, it might be Spain actually. I can't remember. And then Professor X is like, he's got dementia, so his mental powers, he has to be in this metal kind of chamber to stop his like mental like frequency kind of messing with things. So he can what can he do? Yeah, I know he can like read people's minds. He can kind of stop time, I think.
For everyone or from...
I can't exactly be sure. This is just what I'm trying to remember from the X-Men films.
Okay.
I swear he's able to
There's another one that stops time.
He definitely has telepathy.
Okay.
I'm just gonna check. But because it's very much about aging, this whole film. Let me see.
I just know so little. I know there's one called Storm. No.
Yeah.
There's one. This was the blue one. Is that a blue one? Mystique?
Yeah, there's a couple blue ones.
Oh, really?
There's Nightcrawler as well. He can
teleport.
teleport.
It said NyQuil.
That's Nightcrawler.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a sponsor from NyQuil. X-Men now. Is there a green one? Green Goblin?
That's Spider-Man, but sure. Xavier is exceptionally powerful.
Well, Spider-Man was red.
Shut up. Exceptionally powerful telepath who can read and control the minds of others.
Okay, so that's...
So I guess that's essentially his main power, yeah. So and then it's kind of hinted at in the film that uh his dementia is messing with his mind so much that he has these like fits where it kind of slows down time and people are in like fits of pain because he's radiating this energy from his brain because he's so powerful.
Yeah.
And he doesn't mean to, obviously. That it's hinted at that he killed all of the X-Men because
All of them?
it's his academy where all the X-Men are taught.
Yeah.
Because you don't see anyone else in the film.
Yeah.
Because that's why it's hinted that that's why they're so far away from everywhere because they're in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, because he just kills people.
That possibly, yeah, he accidentally killed everyone because he had some kind of seizure. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's maybe not, but
Yeah. Really dark.
Yeah, it's really dark. But yeah, that's a really good film. It's kind of like a road trip film.
I've only seen one picture of like literally just him wheeling. What's his name again? Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
Xavier.
Xavier. He's bald. That's it. That's the only...
Fucking Superman.
They're both bald. I think that's the only reason he was used.
Don't be putting Jesse Eisenberg in the same category as Patrick Stewart. That's not good. That's who he played. You know when Jesse Eisenberg played that stupid fucking character in Batman vs. in BBS Dodge?
The fucking version I'm thinking of Lex Luthor. I've seen like a drawing.
Oh yes, I'm not thinking about Jesse Eisenberg. I'm talking about this drawing I saw.
This drawing I'm holding. They just drew.
Yeah, somebody else played him. I can't remember what his name is. A couple of people played him. Kevin Spacey played him.
Lex Luthor?
Yeah.
Ah. There you go. That's not what I was talking about. Wait, what was I? Okay, the only thing I've seen from the whole, I haven't seen any trailers or clips. I think I've just seen one picture of Logan. What's his name? Matthew.
Paul.
What's he doing there? What's the name of the guy that plays Logan?
Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Pushing.
Xavier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's the child next to them. So yeah, pretty much what you just said is it's the only thing I've seen. I know people liked it a lot. I know it was emotional.
Yeah, very emotional.
Yeah, that's the main thing I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
It was a film in 2017. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, no, I feel like you would probably like it.
Okay.
It's not like you really need to know anything about, superhero films or like the lore of it. It just kind of works on its own, and it's cool just because it's got like a bit of an edge, being that like.
Is it 15 or 18?
I think it's 15.
Okay.
Yeah, just like every word out of Hugh Jackman's mouth is a fuck in this film. It's like crazy.
Is he like Groot? So you can only communicate like that.
I mean, I haven't seen that film, but I'm guessing Groot says Groot all the time.
Yeah.
Did he say I'm Groot? Oh, okay, yeah.
I am fuck. Award for dialogue. Award for writing. A million nominations.
Award for improv.
Every single line's the same. He's really the Andy Kaufman of American.
Of the superhero.
Cool
of the DCU. Oh no, it's Marvel. Wait.
X-Men?
No, yeah, X-Men. X-Men's Marvel.
Yeah. Same universe.
I'm not a fanboy. I don't know.
I don't know anything about anything. So was it good?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
It was good.
I do want to see that actually. I think.
Yeah.
I'm just dramatic films like to that extent.
Mm.
And I know it's not a superhero film, but it's a bit of a superhero film.
It's a bit.
It's a little bit. So I have to get into it.
I know you have your reservations about those.
I have a mental block about that, but I'll watch it one day.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is another one we saw really, really recently.
Yep.
But it did come out in the summer or like September.
Yep.
Of last year.
Uh-huh.
A Ghost Story.
Yes.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one.
The Ghost Story.
He's a ghost.
I think I've probably thought about this film several times since we watched it.
Oh.
Like.
It was good.
I feel like it's stayed with me.
Ah.
and any film that does that is good in my mind.
It's not. I can't say it's a bad film because I can't compare it to any other film I've seen. So, which doesn't necessarily immediately means it's a
Doesn't
great
mean it's a
film.
good film
Yeah,
either.
it's
Yeah.
just different to anything I've ever seen.
Mhm.
So I can't be like it sucked, because which is why.
But I also think, you don't have to want to watch it every day for it to be a good film
No,
either.
no, that's why I said.
Or
Like,
interesting,
I mean,
not
I
necessarily
liked.
good.
No, all the ones I've seen so far, apart from Get Out and Moonlight, are the only ones I'd want to see again.
Yeah.
So like Raw and Bye Bye Man and TT Trainspotting are
Mhm.
the only ones I'd and the ones I liked but probably wouldn't need to see again.
Yeah.
So I could definitely like something I not need to see again. It's just that I don't think I even saw it when I saw it. I was asleep for. I just chose to have my eyes
What, Ghost
closed.
Story?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you chose to have your eyes closed,
Most of
so that you could fall asleep.
I just realized early on that this is not a film I was going to stay awake to. I made that choice for myself before it made it for me.
It's a very quiet, very slow-paced film. But the central premise of it is pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah, do you want to explain it?
Yeah, so Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara are together at the beginning, and then soon after that, Casey Affleck is in a car crash outside his house. They You see Rooney Mara looking over him at the hospital. She's identified the body, and then she leaves, and then you see Casey Affleck get up, and he's got this sheet over him. And then for the rest of the film, he's walking around with a sheet over him, like
with eye holes.
Yeah, with eye
holes
holes, like a kind of Halloween ghost looking. And then he leaves the hospital and goes back to his house, and is pretty much just a specter in the area where his house is for the remainder of the film. And that means that a lot of the film is free from dialogue, free from music. A lot of it.
I think that's where I had trouble being awake.
Yeah. A lot of it is very long shots. It's deliberately shot in a way that feels very voyeuristic, because it's, reflecting the way that, if you were dead, you would
invisible.
Yeah, I guess just be in the mind state of just kind of standing around and kind of observing and having the time to do that. And it's a film that really does take its time, and I think to a ridiculous extent sometimes. Like sometimes you're watching a scene and you're thinking, a shot even, and there's nothing moving in the shot for maybe an entire minute, and you're thinking, when is this gonna end?
I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Sometimes that happens, and there's a famous, kind of infamous scene in it where Rooney Mara eats an entire pie in real time, and
it's over 5 minutes.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It's in silence.
And it's done in kind of 2 shots, and then she goes and throws up, and I guess it's kind of, she's mourning the death of her boyfriend, husband.
Which is interesting, because there's so little emotion in it. There's so little like talking. She hadn't really she didn't cried so far. She goes to see the body, and she's just looking at him, and like walks around him.
Yeah.
And then silently puts the cover back on, and like doesn't look upset at any point. Just looks kind of like neutral, like kind of dead. Like, no emotion whatsoever. So then her eating a pie for 5 minutes and throwing up is the kind of our only emotion. Like.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, so she does care, I guess, because having a great time.
Exactly. Maybe that shows that, that's a cinematic equivalent of showing that she's the kind of person who doesn't know how to emote during that time. That's how she processed her emotions.
Which is totally fine and interesting and cool, but then so they have this like very subtle character building thing, and then she's gone for most of the film. Is not about the relationship. I would have, maybe I'm just too mainstream. I would have liked I think it would have been cool if it was more conventional or whatever.
More about him. Yeah, because she leaves the house at some point. She moves away, and a new family move in. But so you would have preferred if he'd followed her to where she lives and kind of watched her for the rest of her life?
I would want to see how she does with grief, and like how that affects her other relationships, because you see a little bit about how it kind of affects her relationship. She brings a man home, and I think kisses him at the door or something like that. Or Casey Affleck as a ghost, like he has he's got minor poltergeist powers. He's got like pretty major poltergeist powers when he's angry. So he like throws books. I kind of like how when it's him in the shit, you see him throwing books off of shelves and like smashing things up, and then it cuts to how they see it, and it's just books flying invisibly everywhere. So yeah, you see how he deals with it and how that affects her, and like that could be, if they were gonna go with like a metaphorical way, that could be some. But I just would have liked to see how that would have panned out, and the different ways they could continue to showcase the Affleck interacting with her but not really interacting with her, and not from the typical like poltergeist spooky like Halloween way, but in a like weird indie romance film kind of way, but like pretty dark romance film, I guess. I would have liked that. I like the ones about people, and this was about people. It was definitely about people, but it felt like it was more about place, really. So eventually the house gets knocked down, and you skip around in time. You skip, like, it goes to the future at some point, and there's like this crazy skyscraper looking out onto this hyper futuristic place, and he like jumps off of it, and then wakes up back in time in colonialism.
Yeah, seems like it.
America.
It's like people riding around on carts, like in the middle of. It's just like an open plain of field where his house used to be.
Yeah.
It's just these people in, like old kind of clothing.
Yeah, the hats.
Yeah, those hats.
And then they're eventually like killed by Native Americans, you assume, because they have arrows.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happens. Oh yeah, and then it cuts to him looking at this little girl that's been shot. Cuts to him, cuts back to her, and she's like decomposed. Cuts back to him, more decomposed. Like there are so many bits like that which are kind of like creepy, obviously, but cool. Like interesting.
Yeah, that that part was interesting, I thought, because it's like it really. For one, this film really makes you take for granted all the conventions that normal movies do to make you feel like, okay, I understand how this is going to go somewhat.
Yeah.
But it's also cool because it takes the timeline that you'd expect, and it cuts back to Casey Affleck, it cuts back to the girl, and then it cuts back to Casey Affleck, and then cuts back to her. She's even more decomposed, and it's like you can't even imagine how long he's just been standing there watching this, but the film is kind of doing it for you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
Kind of takes that away from you. Like, you don't have to wonder about it.
Yeah.
You can't even wonder about it.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
And then from there, I guess you're made to assume that he's just been there because he's dead, obviously, so he doesn't have to wait, he just is. As a ghost, he is there when himself alive and his girlfriend move into the house, and it's kind of like about how time is kind of in a constant loop, and he is kind of watching himself
as a
move
ghost
into the house, and then obviously everything happens again, so there's two ghosts in the house, and it's like,
which don't interact, so you can't see
I
guess.
Which
is all really, again, it is cool, it is interesting, and kind of a bit horrible. It is definitely emotional for some reason, even though there's no emotion being shown from him, obviously, because he's got a sheet over his head the entire time. Like, there is cool stuff. It's just, I think I saw one comment on Rotten Tomatoes that was like, I trust them with my life. And they said that they wish they explored like the themes a bit more of like loss and all that. And I think I'm not like criticizing. I'm not like they should have done this. It would have been better. But like for me, I would have looked more at personal relationships, loss, and how it affects the people, not just how cool things you could do with editing and timeline. Even though I really like how they played with time passing, because that's all cool stuff. I really like that kind of thing. Also, it is, I was thinking the whole time, it reminded me of Here by Rich McGuire, and then I googled this and people said it, so it's a thing.
Yeah, which is a comic.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like
graphic novel.
Yeah, it's a comic, I think. Based on, so this is a big book, and the whole big book,
comic, graphic novel, big book.
You got pictures, you got text, and it's
got it all.
It's got the whole shebang. It's based in one corner of a room. Like the detective is just looking onto a corner of a room, and each time you turn the page, it's the same room, but there are panels, kind of So like in a comic you have panels. Those kind of panels dotted around the room, but they've got different dates attached to them. And it just completely jumps around page to page. You have no idea like what the story is. And there are a few, you keep going, and then certain timelines or families or bits in time keep popping up. So you're like, oh, I recognize that looks like the end of the sentence that started like a few pages ago that like cut off to do something else. And you see like this corner of a room when it was like prehistoric era, so it's just like dinosaurs everywhere. And then you see it in colonial times, you see it in an imagined future where it's obviously been torn down all these times, so it doesn't look like the house anymore. And there are bits like there are a few pages in a row, maybe you'll see a conversation play out, and then it will cut away to another thing, and you're kind of in charge of the time passing because you're turning the pages. So that's why I like that. I like comics.
It sounds very similar, yeah.
Yeah, which is why.
Is it about like ghosts in any way, or is it
this is the thing. So
just more about
you're watching it
a space
Yeah.
and the timeline
Yeah.
of a space?
Yeah, so it's
kind of.
about how a place is affected by time and the people that live in it.
Yeah.
And like ephemeral, whatever. And you're kind of the person watching it all happen, so you're the ghost, I guess, in that sense. And I really love that book. It's really cool. But which is why you should read it. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh,
That sounds good.
I think it's over there somewhere. 1 second.
Cool.
Yeah, it's up there.
Oh, that's what that is.
Looking at 20 books, like, oh.
Oh, that's what
God.
books are.
Yeah, here it is. It's right over there.
Yeah. I'll have a look at it.
Is.
Hey.
So then, this is what made me mad about, not mad, but frustrated, is that it was just this book, and I thought the book did it so well. I know it's not based, I'm pretty sure it's not based off it. It might be an influence, but from what I can see, it's only been like people spectating, what's the word? Speculating.
Spectating.
Spectating.
Hey. Yep.
It's good. And
Sure.
I've only seen people assuming that it's an influence. I haven't seen anyone come forward and be like, yeah, that was in the process of developing the film. But it must have been like it's all the same themes. You've just put a ghost in it. But you're the ghost.
You're just drawing Casey Affleck over the top of all these drawings,
Drew
and it's the same.
It's the same thing with the whole imagined future, the whole house being knocked down. You see like couples living it. You see families grow up in it a little bit. Except you don't, as a reader of the book, you don't engage with it at all. Just like how Casey Anthony.
Casey Anthony? Who the fuck is that?
That's somebody.
Yeah, I swear it is.
Someone other. Casey Affleck does interact with people by being a ghost, but not quite, I guess. He just like scares the family by throwing plates around for no reason.
Yeah, he seems to be able to interact with other ghosts. He can.
Yes. Oh yeah. How about that?
He can kind of have weird conversations with them.
Yeah.
Across the road.
Yeah.
From them.
So
like
he sees a ghost in another house's window.
Yeah, doesn't necessarily have to talk to them. He can just kind of telepathically communicate with them.
There's just subtitles.
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah, but he can. Yeah, you never see him try and interact with the person either. It's usually like he's like smashing a plate or something if he wants to.
He does stroke her leg at some point.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he stroked. I think when her name.
Rooney Mara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's in bed. Yeah, he's just like stroking her leg, but you don't see what she's like. You assume that she just can't feel it at all.
Oh,
I think she might be asleep. And that's really the only time. Like he never like tries to talk to anyone, obviously, because he hasn't got a mouth. It's just a lot of no feeling, no like. Normally, if someone's dead, like in spoilers, Sixth Sense, they try and talk to the person. There's a moment of realizing you can't hear what I'm saying. There's like big frustration. It's all very like just like despair of being able to watch them but not being able to interact with them. But there's just none of that.
I think it would have been harder in this film for it to be the big reveal at the end that Casey Affleck was dead the whole time.
He takes the
after thousands of years.
He takes the sheet off and he was alive.
Oh my god.
He's really old
He's
now.
a skeleton.
Yeah. He's a skeleton and the skeleton falls down and his xylophone noise. And how that actually ends. Spoilers. Sorry. But not that. I'm not saying it needs to be a twist. It doesn't need to be anything, actually. It's just that he doesn't really have a moment of realization that he can't talk to anyone. It's just like he knows. He just knows to go back to the house. He knows to just stand around and watch.
Yeah.
Doesn't interact with anything really, apart from even the other ghost. He doesn't interact with it. I think he just says hi to it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, they don't have much of a bond.
No.
It's like, because the other ghost that he's interacting with is across the street, and it's in a different house, so you can see it through the window, and they kind of wave at each other, and then it's kind of like that ghost is waiting for someone, and it's like he's kind of waiting for her as well. So it's something
Kind of.
about. It seems like there's also a part when he's leaving the hospital, and like a kind of a beam of light opens, and it's like
Oh yeah.
it's
What?
almost like he has the chance to go to heaven or whatever,
Is that what that was?
or like the afterlife. That's what I assumed.
Yeah.
But he turns away from it and decides to walk across like fields and stuff to get back to his house. Um, and then there are points where there's a couple of points where a ghost will just like, because all the ghosts are just like sheets over people walking around. There's points where they'll just fall to the ground, and that is like the assumption that they've moved on to the next life, to the afterlife or whatever. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. That is. I also like that they are just these like childish looking like
Yeah.
Halloween costume ghosts. Like it says right off the bat that this is a metaphor. Like it is not. None of this is that you can't try and figure out. Okay, well if that like the logic or the laws of how anything works, it's just like it's just a ghost. It's just all a symbolism.
Yeah.
Which, like that's kind of nice too. There's a lot of nice ideas.
Yeah.
I think I'm just not the right person to watch an hour and a half, 40 minutes of
Yeah.
silence.
I think ultimately I couldn't recommend it to someone because I don't know anyone who would watch this and
No.
like it.
I don't want
But
to be responsible for that.
yeah, I feel like anyone I recommended this to would be like, why did you tell me to watch that? That was fucking boring.
Yeah.
But I do think it was interesting. I wouldn't necessarily watch it again, but I thought it was pretty cool.
I think I just would have liked it a lot more if it was like a short film. I'm not saying
Yeah.
like a 5 minute long, maybe half an hour even.
It really does feel like something you'd go into a gallery and watch.
Yeah.
Because it's
an art house.
very
fucking
arty,
film.
very art house, yeah.
It's not just. Was it in major? It was in cinemas. Must not have been. It
I
wasn't in,
don't
like,
know if it was a
Empire.
wide release.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know who saw
I
it.
don't know anyone who's seen it.
No, I have not heard anyone talk about it at all. I think like nothing. Which
If
makes-
you're an art student, you might like it.
yeah, if
but
your dick has like a
anyone else
but
probably will think it's shit.
it was a lot. Just reading the Rotten Tomatoes comments were really
Yeah.
good. It was pure anger from
Yeah.
most people that were like, I don't know why this is a film. I don't know why they did this to me.
Worst film ever made,
Yeah.
etc.
No
Yeah.
redeeming points. And then some other people that were like amazing, beautiful,
Yeah.
resonated with me strongly. Like you said that it would probably resonate very well with someone who like lost someone recently or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I totally see that. Again, I wish it was shorter. I just wish.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
then the point is that it's really lingering along like being dead. It's like
Yeah.
an infinite amount of time watching this film.
That can go in your review. It lingered like the eternity of death.
5 stars. So like
Even for someone who's like afraid of death, I think this would kind of maybe put
Yeah.
your mind at rest.
Yeah,
Like it's
if you
kind
think
of
about death.
puts death into like a nice
Is it nice?
perspective, I think. Yeah. No, it's not like,
It's a bit horrible.
I don't know if it's horrible. I think it's
It felt like a very
it's probably horrible for anyone who thinks that having consciousness after life, this is probably their
that's probably
nightmare.
the main thing.
But I guess it's kind of nice for people who would like to think that they can come back and just watch, their family.
But then like
On a
you
loop
saw her move
forever.
on. Why would you wanna then deal with that?
That's true,
And
yeah.
This whole thing.
Yeah.
It felt like a really mild nightmare. It felt like I had dreamt the whole movie because
Yeah.
it was like one of those dreams I have. Like I swear that was like a 40-hour long dream when you slept for like 2 hours.
Mhm.
It was very dreamlike. But
Hey, you know what else was dreamlike and
What's
kind
this
of like a
now?
very mild nightmare?
what film is this? What?
It's called Mother. It's a film called Mother.
Yeah, actually, same. Yeah, it's true. I guess.
I liked it.
Okay, I liked A Ghost Story more than Mother.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think
because
Mother's probably as divisive as Ghost Story.
yeah,
I think more people probably liked Mother though, just because it's
more
not
people
as
saw it.
quiet. Yeah, more
Yeah,
people saw it. It's not as quiet,
yeah, it happens. Things happen in it.
less. Well,
Things
it's
won't stop
still quite
happening in it.
artsy, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it just it. What are your feelings on it?
I like it.
Okay.
I think it's
You like
interesting.
it. It's not like you don't know how to feel about it. You like you
No, I
like
think
it.
yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I think it's like it's as I said to you after we watched it. I feel like it's the closest a film has got to
Are you gonna
representing.
fight me?
That's why I'm getting up right
Yeah. I'm gonna get up the stance.
now. I feel like it's the closest a film has got to representing a dreamlike state
Oh
on
yeah.
screen to me. That it
Right.
really feels like so bizarre and so like so it's very domestic, but at the same time there's something so off about it
Yeah.
and you're trying to figure it out the whole time, but it
It makes you confused. It really makes you
yeah.
feel things. It does that well, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. I just okay. It really frustrates me the last act of it, the last second. I don't like being confused when I watch films anyway. I
Yeah.
liked A Ghost Story because it was simple. It was he's dead. He's gonna
Yeah.
watch things happen now.
Very simple.
Yeah, got it. Um, but this I don't like being purposely confused. I don't like
I
because I
hate being
need.
titillated.
I despise it. I just I know unless I don't know. Wait. Unless I can figure it out, then I like being confused. Unless I can feel smart about it, I like being confused.
What about films where you have to read what the allegory is before you go into the film?
Yeah, like I wish I didn't. I wish I could have my own interpretation of it because the allegory was dumb. I thought controversial.
No.
I it didn't feel like subtle at all once I read it. I was like,
So,
oh,
yeah, it's not
obviously.
subtle. I don't think it's subtle.
Yeah,
I think you can kind of work it out without reading about it as well. But
yeah,
even we were kind of thinking like, who is this person meant to represent and stuff like that?
yeah, like
Because yeah, everything in the film is meant to represent something. It's like
yeah,
everything you're seeing is not as it is,
yes, like, it's
basically.
very clearly put there for a reason.
Yeah.
Which sure fine. I just wish it's okay. It's kind of thing like I was watching it and being confused. Like, why don't I understand what's going on? Is there anything meant to be like? Is this meant to be confusing? Is this meant to be like? It's definitely meant to be like other like panic and like chaos and everything like that.
Yeah.
But am I meant to know who these people are? Like,
Yeah.
which they do, which is the whole point. I get it. It's just then once you read it, it's like, oh, that wasn't worth me being confused over. Like, it wasn't like a like. Well, it's not like I once I read it, I was like, oh, amazing, mind blown. It's like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And this is the last bit where so the house people keep coming into the house and like.
I mean,
causing
none of this
havoc.
is gonna make sense if you haven't seen it or you
Yeah,
don't know about
I've already
it.
turned it off if you haven't seen it, but like I'm sure you've heard of it. I hate when I like address this like you when I'm not talking about you personally. It feels like
Whoever
who
the
am I
hell
talking
is
to?
listening to this, whoever would possibly listen
Get
to
to this
this,
point.
maybe you've seen it, maybe you've not seen it.
You've heard of it, whatever.
Wait, what's the allegory? Jeff Lawrence is
Bible.
Mother Nature. Javier
Yes.
Bardem is God. The
You
house.
remembered all the names of people. I don't know any names of anybody. I know Jennifer Lawrence. That's it.
Oh, what actors?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Even the
no,
other
no,
films,
no,
you know
actors.
everybody.
Yeah.
Who else?
Ed Harris
Oh God, he is in this. Yeah.
and Michelle Pfeiffer
I don't know if that was her. Yeah.
was the woman.
Yeah.
I think they're meant to be Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their house is Earth, I guess. That's what that's meant to
Yeah.
be. That's meant to be
Heaven, Earth, Heaven. Heaven, because they come into heaven.
Earth, because that's
Oh no, yeah, you're right. I don't
yeah.
know the Bible.
Um, and yeah, essentially, so Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence are living in this house in the middle of nowhere. Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer turn up, and they kind of won't leave. Javier Bardem is happy to have them there. Mother Nature, Jennifer Lawrence, kind of is really kind of freaked out about having them there. Like she doesn't understand why Javier Bardem like is so okay with them being there. They're kind of intruding on their lives pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, being kind of rude.
Entitled.
Yeah. and they just really won't leave. And I guess it's kind of like,
Ed Harris is dying. That didn't go
yeah.
anywhere. Does that go anywhere? Did I miss that?
There's something about Ed Harris's rib, I know, because that's the whole
Was
Bible
that what he
part of
was
it.
coughing about and throwing up
Maybe,
about?
I don't know.
He was
I know. I
making.
just know that when she opens the door, she sees that he has some kind of rib thing.
He has a cut on his. No,
Yeah.
it's like blood on his shirt where
Or
the ribs
blood.
would be,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah,
And you only see it for a second, and then like they close the door really quickly, I think.
yeah.
So you gotta catch it like immediately. I just wouldn't have pointed him being ill to him like coughing up a rib.
No,
for
yeah, I know,
Eve
yeah.
to come in, like.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird kind of metaphorical
Yeah.
stuff that I don't know. Jennifer Lawrence keeps drinking this yellow stuff. She keeps going into the bathroom and drinking this stuff,
Piss.
which I assume is
She won't
piss.
stop.
Which I assume is the sunlight, because that's what the Earth
This
would
is my point.
take in to recover from things.
Yeah, sure.
It's all metaphorical. It's all metaphor.
This is not a clever. It's
Sorry. So yeah, essentially, by the end, their house keeps. Javier Bardem keeps inviting people in because
He's
he's
a writer.
God and he's a writer, and everyone loves him, so
And he
he's
loves
inviting
being
more
like
people
adored.
in. Yeah, he loves being adored, as God, I assume, would. So their house is soon full of people that they don't know, and Jennifer Lawrence is freaking the fuck out because she's Mother Nature.
And house. Oh, and they break
yeah.
stuff and like.
And they're like breaking stuff.
Kill each other.
And then it really like escalates, and there's kind of a whole scene where she's like going through the house, and it's like very nightmarish, dreamlike visuals, kind of very like almost like Eternal Sunshine-y, where like they're running through like different dreams trying to escape the machine that's erasing the dreams. Like they're just seeing loads of stuff happen in quick succession, which I guess is like the evolution of man.
Yeah. And the world.
Like history. Just in terms of like how long the Earth's been around, is probably like in the short period we've been around, it's probably that's why that scene goes so quick, because it's all happening so quickly.
Yeah.
And then Jesus is born, basically.
And there's like a cult as well.
And there's some kind of cult that kills him. The baby, baby gets killed.
So she goes back and Javier Bardem wants the baby, and she's like, no, I'm not giving it to you, because she's lost all trust for him at this point, because he wouldn't listen to her at any point.
Yeah.
And now he really wants the baby, and she wouldn't let her have it. Eventually she falls asleep with it, and the baby's gone.
Yeah.
And like opens the door to everyone.
He's kind of holding it up like Circle of Life kind of vibes.
Yeah, liking plays.
And then everyone's kind of crowd surfing the baby.
Yeah.
And it's like pissing all over everyone.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't see that bit. Okay. Sure.
And then Jennifer Lawrence is running through the crowd trying to get to it, and the baby is dead by the time she gets there. And
people are eating
it, I think, and then people are kind of like assaulting Jennifer Lawrence, I guess, to reflect like man
abusing Mother
Nature and like resources,
which is upsetting to
I
see.
assume that is, then I can't really remember what happens after that. I think everything just kind of burns down.
I think she's gonna burn the house down. I think she's and then she's does it, but then so the house is set on fire, explodes, I believe. I don't know why it explodes. It's also been bleeding this whole time. I don't know why it's been bleeding. Do you
wasn't exactly sure what that was about.
This is the thing. Like, you can't have some characters be like some metaphors be exactly accurate to what you're talking about, and then some things be like, I don't fucking know. That's just nothing. Don't worry about it. Like,
some
it's all a metaphor or it's
others.
not a metaphor.
Some metaphors are bigger than others.
Yeah, but like the sun, I think what we read a few articles about trying to figure out what each individual thing was, and some people are like, I guess that's the sun. I don't really know. Like, I
can't see what else it could have been. Like,
but that's not in the Bible.
Might have just not been a metaphor. Might have just been piss.
Maybe. No, that's in the Bible.
And that is in the Bible,
that's
guaranteed.
Right Page 2. It just annoys me that some of them are so obviously a metaphor and some of them are just nothing. It's inconsistent to me and frustrating, because then you'll leave everyone wondering, like, well, then what is it? What were you talking about with that? So why is the house bleeding is my point. People are like taking pictures of like this blood spot on the floor, I was like, did you just put that in there because it looked cool? Like, I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was meant to
Yeah,
mean.
like sometimes it feels like they put stuff in for the sake of they just wanted to write that or they just wanted to see how that would look, and sometimes they put it in because it was very important to the story.
I'm sure it means something, but
that's not
we're
that
just
important.
not intelligent enough.
I guess neither was the BuzzFeed article here.
Yeah.
What it was. And she sets the house on fire, but then it cuts back to her on a bed in space, or like
Nope.
an attic.
Yeah, something like that.
Like some kind of weird space that doesn't really look like.
Oh wait,
anywhere.
no, but it's not her, is it?
No, it is her, but she's all burnt up.
Is it?
Yeah. She explodes.
Wait, yeah, no, Javier Bardem takes her and kind of lays her down.
Okay, yeah, that's
she disintegrates into that crystal thing that Adam and Eve
He pulls
smashed.
the heart out of her, and then she disintegrates.
Yeah, because Adam and Eve smashed her heart at some point.
Exactly. Like it
feels
doesn't
so
make
ridiculous
any sense.
saying
Yeah.
Doesn't
make any sense.
And then, I swear it all restarts.
Yeah.
But it's not Jennifer Lawrence.
No, it's a new Mother Nature.
It's a new Mother Nature.
Which again hasn't happened because there hasn't been. Maybe there has been two worlds and two gods. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense because, well, I don't know if when the sun engulfs the Earth, that the Earth will be able to come back from that, but a different Earth will be able to.
Rooting for it.
And I guess the God, creator of the universe, in quotes, would be the same, and like a different Earth would be a different Mother Nature. So I guess it kind of makes sense. Yeah, sure. But
that's not that biblical. It doesn't sound like that. Sounds more just like that guy. What's his name? What's the director?
Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a little theory from him. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, because at the very beginning it has like a weird montage for like 3 seconds of another woman or something like that, or like a fire and then a face, and then it's just the movie starts kind of. So you see like, oh, okay, that's what we saw. We saw Jennifer Lawrence come into being at the very beginning. Yeah. And she wakes up somewhere. I think he says like as he like pulls the heart out of her, like we're gonna do better this time, or like we're gonna get it right this time or something like that.
It's something like that.
Yeah. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know if it's quite that, but.
Yeah, no, it's right. He says like we. You know, he says we, and I don't know what that means because how many times has he messed up and fed his baby to a crowd of people?
I guess an infinite amount of times because it is the universe.
He needs to do better then. What's she doing wrong?
Yeah.
I don't like the film.
We've watched too many things recently that just based around the like faces of infinity and like things looping back around, and
it's all
because there's a lot of that in like Black Mirror as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, that is on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Mirror does it. Well, I think with Black Mirror it's good. Oh wait, no, that's Black Mirror. We're not onto that yet. We're still on the list.
We'll get to that.
Actually, wait. How many films? How long is this gonna be?
I don't know. Well, do you have any more films from 2017? Because all I have left are just the ones that I saw in 2017. Because I was doing a list of the IMDb top 250 lists. I was trying to review every single one of them, but it takes so long that I got to maybe like, I think I got to 100 maybe or so.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just didn't have time because I had work and stuff. But the ones that stood out from that list that I had seen were Grave of the Fireflies, Reservoir Dogs, Paths of Glory, Doctor Strangelove, Strangers on a Train, Stand By Me, City Lights, and Casablanca.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't think you've seen any of them.
No.
So there's no point talking about them. But yeah, those are just the ones I saw this year. Didn't come out this year, but they were very good films.
I don't have a list like that. I didn't see as many films last year as I did the year before. I feel like 2016 I saw every film. That I think we just went through like every top 10 film list and we saw everything. Whereas last year I can't really remember a standout film that didn't come out that year. But the only film left on my list that did come out last year was Lady Bird, which we saw the other day.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if I should put that because it doesn't actually come out here till this year. But we did see it. Yeah, it hasn't come out yet.
Oh shit. Well, but on the thing, on the Wikipedia page...
It does say 2017, yeah.
I'm going to talk about it. It came out then. Because we haven't had a film I liked in a while.
Okay.
I really liked Lady Bird. It has...
It's good. What's the name? Sorry?
Say Aussie. I know that's not a name. I know that's not a name. What's the name? Sorry.
Saoirse.
Okay. Got it.
Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah. Knew it. I knew I wasn't going to say it right.
As people...
What?
thought her name was.
Sure. Yeah.
I always thought it was called Schwarzy.
It? Excuse me?
I always thought that name
Excuse
was
me?
I always thought that
Yeah.
name was pronounced Schwarzy before I watched Song of the Sea, and then I realized that the like one of the characters in that's called Saoirse, and it was written the same
Saoirse,
way. And I
yeah.
was like, oh,
I
okay.
keep want to say like Saoirse or Saoirse.
Yeah. So many people can't
Saoirse.
pronounce that name.
It's a lot happening.
Yeah. Saoirse Ronan
Yeah.
is the main
She's
character
in
in
it.
Lady Bird. Yeah.
As like a high schooler,
Yeah.
I think. Which at first I thought she was meant to be like in her 20s. Like she's actually 22, I think.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised
Think
at.
so.
She looks super young, and she's been acting for like 10 years, which is wild.
Yeah.
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 And
She's in Grand Budapest.
yeah, and
She's
Lovely
the cake
Bones.
maker. Yeah.
They're like 12.
She's really good. She's in
Yeah.
a lot of good films.
She's cool. Yeah, she was really good in this. So yeah, first I thought it was jarring that she's playing a high schooler, but it like she seems pretty right for it pretty quickly. I think once
Yeah,
you're in the
definitely.
setting, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
fine. Basically it's high schooler, very like charismatic, dramatic, quirky. I don't want to say the word. It's quirky.
Yeah.
Like teenage girl has a very what's the word? Disjointed, conflicting relationship with her mum.
Yeah.
There are some. It starts with them sleeping in the same bed, like really close to each other, but they've got a very like dysfunctional relationship where I think
Yeah.
it's quite a poor family, and I think her mum feels like she is ashamed of the family and is like brattish, whereas Lady Bird feels very controlled and like I think she feels like her mum hates her basically. Like they both think that they hate each other. It's a lot.
Yeah, there's a very there's a funny part where they're looking through clothes and I can't remember what it is exactly, but they're just kind of like bickering at each other, being like, "Oh, why can't you just let me like do this
she's
thing?"
just being, her mum's being really passive aggressive.
Yeah, and then the mum picks out a dress and she's like, "Oh my god, it's perfect."
And
and it's like they have such a like it's like they're never
tumultuous.
angry at each other for like real reasons. It's just like they're just bickering because that's their relationship.
Yeah, and I noticed throughout like her mum just makes a lot of remarks. Like I think, when they're trying on dresses, she just can't say nothing nice about her. Like she just keeps making like, little belittling remarks. So it just feels like an ongoing bad tension. But then they've also got the mother and daughter relationship of like picking out dresses and being very excited about this kind of stuff. So there's some kind of like nice moments, which are normally immediately followed up by really tense, horrible moments. So that's quite that. I don't know. Thought that was interesting because I haven't really seen that in a film explored like that before. And the dad is a very subdued kind of figure who's revealed to be depressed. And it's just basically quite. There isn't really a running narrative except the fact that it's leading up to her leaving high school and looking for universities to apply to. And she's in a Catholic school at the moment and just seeing how she deals with that and like boyfriends and like it's the kind of stuff I like. Just random like
it was almost the
events.
vibe to me. It was almost the vibe of like Little Miss Sunshine in a
Yeah,
way.
actually,
Like not like the story, but just the functionality of the family.
Family drama.
The dysfunctionality of them, and the way that it feels real. It feels like
really well written, I thought.
Yeah.
I was really worried at the very beginning. I was really worried that it was going to be cringy. For just a second, I was like, "Oh no, what if she's not going to talk like a teenager and it's going to be really like unbelievable?" But no, that's really good like comedic timing. I thought.
Yeah.
Like she was just genuinely funny, but also likable. Like she's not just like it just feels like a teenage girl. It doesn't feel like this big caricature of a teenage girl. Like it all seems pretty realistic.
Yeah.
A bit like bigged up because it's a film. But, and then the soundtrack is by John Bryan. So like Eternal Sunshine, Punch Drunk Love. I don't know if he is that. Oh, Anomalisa, I think he did as well.
Possibly.
All the good stuff. He's really good. It definitely sounds like him, I think, which was really cool to hear in like a teen indie rom-com setting. I think teen rom-com is my favorite genre.
There's almost an element of like Superbad to it, even. a
Yeah.
little bit. Not in. It's not. I wouldn't say it's an all-out comedy, but there are definitely funny parts to it, and like the way that it focuses around teenagers and kind of the way that teenagers actually are, as opposed to how parents would like to see what teenagers are like.
Yeah.
It
So
feels kind of along that sort of vein.
yeah, it feels in touch with
Um,
reality of like how people speak right now,
yeah,
which is
or at least in
relieving.
2002 when
Oh
it's
shit,
set.
yeah. Yeah, set 2002. Which I guess is also why it feels a bit superbadish because that actually was filmed in like mid 2000s.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
um, and
And it's also
that's
kind of
nice.
good because it's not about like girls standing around on their phones.
Yeah, which is what would have happened otherwise, and we
Yes.
get like a train-spotting thing where you have to see a fake Instagram and fake Snapchat,
Yeah,
which would not be
exactly.
great.
Yeah.
I think there's a film coming out that is based around social media, like in teen girls. It's called like
Really.
oh, there's someone sent it to me. I was like, apparently this looks like the new Heathers. It's not the
Oh
new
right.
Heathers. It's not the new
Yeah.
Heathers. It's like
I don't know. They might do
it,
something interesting with it,
what's
but
it
I doubt it.
it's not interesting. Like they just keep talking about how many followers they have on Instagram and stuff like and Twitter and like there's like shots of the Twitter like showing up on the screen as they're doing a tweet and then, like killing people. I think they kill people to get followers. It's called Truth or
Oh,
Dare. It's
okay.
like a really it looks
Didn't that
bad.
already come out? I don't
Maybe.
know.
I don't know what year it is anymore. Um uh,
Yeah, that
it's
sounds
not
about
that.
right.
Yeah, it's not that film.
Sounds like a film that would come out.
Yeah, about now. It's not done like that. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's right. You're right. It's like Little Miss Sunshine in terms of the balance of dramatic scenes because
Yeah.
the the drama is done really well, like and really sincerely, I think,
Mhm.
and the comedy is done equally sincere. Like, can you have sincere comedy? Is that a thing?
um, I think it's equally effective.
Yeah, yeah.
The drama
That's one.
works because the characters are three-dimensional and you kind of believe in them. You believe that they're real people.
Yeah,
So, when things happen, like you feel a feeling.
yeah, which is all I want from
Yeah.
films. And the ending's really, I think the ending's pretty nice. It's like pretty sentimental, but it's good. Up there with like Juno
Yeah.
and stuff. I don't know. When I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is just like an actually nice, good film. It's not like I have to
Yeah.
look at it compared to all the other films I've seen recently and be like, well, I guess this is better. It was just like, no, I liked it. I just genuinely thought it was as good as
Yeah.
some really good films I've seen.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
nice.
And it didn't even feel necessarily like it was treading much new ground or anything. It's just
No.
it's his own thing and it's nice and good, like you said. And
Yeah. Isn't it
yeah.
doing? What is it doing new? I guess the comedy is new in terms of like the way they speak is definitely very 2017, like a very new way of
Would you say
the sense of humor felt pretty new.
yeah. I was gonna say like a female teenage perspective was kind of
That's
new, but
me.
that's probably the most overdone thing.
A little bit.
Maybe
Well, actually, no, it's
maybe a
not.
realistic perspective on it might
Yeah.
be less overdone.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. From, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of quirky female, like, teenage characters,
Yeah.
but I don't know how everyone reacted to things felt pretty new. I don't know oh, maybe it was the family dynamic. And,
Yeah.
like, the fact that it was it was religion as well. That's what was new.
Yeah.
There's been very few, like, coming of age teen comedies, like, rom-coms and indie kind of thing with that isn't full of songs that I've like come out recently or just like hit songs. It had a score
Yeah.
which felt different and yeah, like struggles with religion as well as being like ashamed of your family and
Mhm.
not knowing how to be a good person. Like there's a really horrible bit where she applies to a really expensive school in New York without telling her mum, but gets help from her dad, and then not thinking she should get in, and then she does get in. Her mum finds out she's kind of gone against her back, and her mum's just not refusing to talk to her, and like the music's like really ramping up, like orchestra, like it's getting really loud, and like
Yeah.
the door, like forgot her name for a second, Lady Bird is just like yelling at her to talk to her.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know, you don't, and then it just cuts to the next scene, like there isn't a resolve to it. You don't get really dramatic scenes that kind of left to itself like that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's different tones to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you say, there's equal drama and comedy to
Yeah.
it, and they do go hand in hand very well. And
That's what's new.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it'll just be one of those films that people will like, and a lot
One
of
of them
people
films.
will consider like one of their favorites.
Yeah, I would. That's the only one I think this year that I would watch again, like now, a
Yeah,
few days after seeing it. All the other ones, like as I say, Get Out and Moonlight, probably my favorites, but I
yeah,
couldn't watch them again right after seeing them because it felt like I had to give it some time. Whereas this one, I would watch it again because I feel like I would, like
yeah,
knowing. I think when you're watching first time, you're so scared, like, is this gonna be a bad film? But now I know it's not gonna be a bad film. I can enjoy it.
yeah, definitely.
It was good. That's my last one.
Okay.
Last film anyway.
Um. So what are we going to now?
Music. That's
Okay.
mine. You can do yours in 2 seconds.
All right. Yeah, I can do mine in 2 seconds. Um. I listen to. Well, my music taste doesn't really change like throughout the years, so I generally listen to the same kind of stuff. I guess I listen to uh Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator. He came out with an album last year, which is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's as good as Cherry Bomb, but it's quite a high mark to surpass because everyone
Sure.
loved Cherry Bomb. I listened to some Post Malone. He's really good, and
Don't listen to either. But yeah, sure.
He's just really interesting to listen to on podcasts and stuff. Like he just seems like a fun guy. Uh, I also had oh fuck, what's his name? What's Beyonce's husband called?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, yeah.
Yeah.
He came out with a song called The Story of OJ, and the
Yeah.
video of that was really good. It's kind of like a Cuphead kind of style
Yeah,
of
retro cartoon.
yeah,
thing.
but it's in like black and white and kind of like I guess like black caricatures
Oh, right.
in a cartoon style. Like it's
Like
a really
old Disney.
yeah yeah
Mm.
yeah, it's a really interesting video.
Huh.
That's about all I remember of music in 2016.
Good. Okay. I have 4 albums of music
Uh-huh.
that I liked, but I think there's only. Should I say like a couple songs I liked off each album?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay. Well, first off, songs that I remember liking off of this particular album. Something to Tell You by Haim. My favorite songs off of that were Something to Tell You. Um,
That is a good song actually.
it's really
I forgot
good.
about that.
Like, I didn't know what to include it because a lot of these, there's only 3 songs I would have liked off the album, but I really
Yeah.
they're my like top songs. Spotify 2017 playlist thing. So obviously it's like worth putting in.
Yeah.
It was. So Something to Tell You, probably my favorite one, and then View album. Forgotten all of them. Want You Back, actually. I think I might like as much, or if not more. I really like the video
Yeah.
for that. And You Never Knew, so they're the only songs I like off that one.
Nice.
And then I think, the only album that I listened to all the way through and like pretty much every song was Five Flux. It's the name of medication. 5-fluoxetine. So you try it. Try
5 food
fucking
flux.
fluoxetine. Fluoxetine.
Fluoxetine?
Right? Yes.
5 for fluoxetine.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in the name of the song as well, so they say
Yeah.
it. It sounds 5-fluoxetine. Is the name of the album by Los Campesinos. They are one of my favorite bands. I think did I have an album out in 2013? I think was the last time. And I liked all of those songs on that as well. I love the lyrics. I love how they write lyrics. It's really good. I don't know if one person's in charge of lyrics. I don't really know. But it's all very poetic. I'm just gonna list the credits.
Jenny on lyrics.
The words in the songs are good. Good album. I like Full of Home and 5-fluoxetine and maybe one second.
Yes.
They've all got like dumb long names that are good, but wow. I'm just scrolling, but it's a very teen angst kind of band for me. Not sure if it kickstarted a angst breakdown, but we're not. Oh, I saw them live. I forgot about that.
Did it?
Yeah, I saw it at the beginning of summer. Yeah, in like May. So just after they'd released this album, and that was really cool.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I told you.
I remember being invited.
It was a secret. I'm so sorry. They were really cool to see live. Yeah, it was. So it was. Slow Death is really good. The Fall of Home, 5-fluoxetine, Got Stendals. Like they're just weird names, but that's a nice one. Especially Fall of Home because it's about visiting your hometown after being maybe at uni or like visit like being away and like all the shops are shutting down, like your places like pubs are just completely run down
Yeah.
and your town is slowly decaying around you and it not really feeling like a home anymore. It's all very
That's pretty
relevant.
deep for a song.
Oh
Sounds
yeah,
quite specifically deep.
Yeah, they're all really pretty deep about like relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Melodrama by Lorde, I think is on most people's top albums.
Yeah, I remember it being okay.
There you go, exactly. Off of that one, I kind of liked how it was a very concept-y like album. I think it's meant to be the night of a house party, or it's meant to be like one night.
Alright.
And then different stages of the night, apparently. So I liked Greenlight was the first single off of it. It was the first one everyone heard. I like that. I know some people didn't. And then Liability, Hard Feelings / okay, right. I love Hard Feelings / Loveless, and then at the end it turns into, I guess, Loveless. And I
Yeah.
really hate that part. Like, this the one where it, like, completely switches around.
Yeah, it's like
LOE,
two
like-
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first bit I really like, and what's that about? Supercut, I think might be my favorite, just because I love every part of it. And Perfect Places is also good. It's just, Right in the Dark is good. Yeah, no, I like most songs off this album.
I think Right in the Dog was the only one that I put into
Definitely.
my playlist.
Whoa.
But
I think I just like dancing, so I like Greenlight and Perfect Places because they're very like euphoric,
yeah.
dancey kind of songs, and the rest are very, again, angsty. But that's a good album.
Mhm.
And then last one was Process by Sampha, and off of that one, Sampha's just got a beautiful voice. I think my favorite all-time song by him is what is that one? You know it?
It's
You know
on the tip
it?
of my tongue.
Also,
I
my
love
favorite-
samba.
I love that dance. Without, yeah, that's it. Without is my favorite song by him. It's one of my favorite songs ever, I think. But off Process, I really liked Plastic, 100 Degrees. Blood on Me, I think, is my favorite. No One Knows Me Like the Piano is like a really ballady kind of song, which is weird because all the other ones are like very built up, produced, kind of like some of it's rapping, some of it's like really techno.
Yeah.
I don't know genres. I don't know.
Techno?
Something like that. They're all really beautiful and like intense, I think, is the main word
Yeah.
for all the songs on it. Very good.
Cool.
And then TV.
What do you have? Because we probably have the same stuff
Same.
because we generally watch TV
We
together.
literally have the same stuff. Is
Let's see.
should I just rattle them off?
Okay.
Stranger Things series 2, Black Mirror season 4, Better Call Saul season 3, BoJack Horseman season 4, Master of None season 2.
Okay.
That's the only one that's different.
I forgot about BoJack Horseman.
Okay.
I have Game of Thrones on here, which obviously you haven't seen. And I didn't put Master of None because I haven't seen the second season.
Have you seen?
I still haven't
It's
seen it.
good. It's better than the first one.
I'm sure it is. So is Game of Thrones season 6
I can't watch that. I'm not allowed.
or 7. I can't remember which one it was. I think it's 7, 6, 7.
6. 7's the last one to come out.
Right. Okay. Yeah. We're at 6. Yeah. So you've still got 2 seasons of Game of Thrones to watch. So I can't really talk about that.
Nope.
Do you have anything to say on any of these, or
I think my favorite out of all these was.
yeah, which one would you say do you enjoy the most?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because that is a hard question to me.
I'm gonna say BoJack Horseman.
Whoa! Really?
But Better Call Saul is a very close runner-up.
Really?
And so is Stranger Things.
Really?
Actually, you know what? They're all pretty good. I like BoJack, Better Call Saul, Black
If you
Mirror.
were to watch one of them again, which one would you?
I've already seen BoJack twice like that this season, and I rewatched the whole thing this year as well.
Yeah.
Oh, God, maybe not Better Call Saul just because it is very wordy.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like I know it.
Is it?
already.
Yeah. Now I've seen it twice. It's not necessarily something I would watch again, but
Yeah.
I do love it so much.
It was really good to watch as it's happening.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I still can't wait for it to come back.
Yeah.
But
it was right.
yeah.
And like, it just hasn't got. Like, it doesn't focus as. It still focuses on it, but it doesn't focus as much on like the cinematography and like art of Breaking Bad, where it's like and like the building
Yeah.
and the twists and stuff like that, which make it rewatchable. It's a bit less that and more just the drama of it. But once you know what happens, it's like, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Stranger Things was good.
Mhm.
But then episode 7 happened, didn't it? And now I can't remember
just can't
as
shake it.
fondly.
I mean,
No.
that really didn't bother me as much as I think it bothered you and a lot of
It's so
people.
annoying. Yeah, as soon as I finished watching it, I was like, I cannot be the only one that is upset
Yeah,
and crying.
and I think everyone was.
Yeah, there's loads of articles about it. It was just, if it was any other series, it was just felt so out of place after such like an amazing string of episodes. Like each one had an amazing part of it.
Yeah.
Like the ending was always really good, and then this happened. And like it just didn't need to happen. I think I saw an interview. One of the people they questioned not having it in, but they decided to in the end because it was basically just they needed 11 to have a moment of realization. That was it. That was the whole point
Right,
of the
yeah.
episode. And I guess they didn't have time to write a different thing.
Yeah.
But I wish they did.
Because you saw it before I finished the season, and the way you talked about it was as if like it was a different show entirely.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
felt
I didn't
like it.
even think there were any of the regular characters in it,
mean,
so
there
I was a
wasn't.
bit scared.
There
But at
wasn't
least
almost.
11 was in it. I mean, it
So
wasn't
far.
that bad.
It was so
There's some
weird.
shitty characters in it, but
I think maybe I was overreacting, but the dialogue with the new
it definitely
shitty
doesn't need a
characters,
spin-off.
it really doesn't. It's just the dialogue felt so bad after having pretty
Yeah.
good dialogue so far.
It's true.
It hurt even more. It betrayed me even more because it was doing so well. And and you're having such a close like ensemble cast for every single episode, and then suddenly it's only one character, and it's bad.
Yeah.
Upsetting.
It could have even at least kind of cut back and
Yeah.
forth between
That would have
there
redeemed it.
and wherever they were, New
No, but
York.
you're just trapped
Yeah.
in this one place watching this happen. You can't do anything about
It's
it.
trapped in this goddamn plot.
Unless you skip through it, like I did on the first watch. And I was like, I get it. I skipped to the end. I was like, okay, cool, moved on.
It's not good.
I
I
don't
don't
care
agree with that at
I
all.
Don't care. And then
Would you have skipped through Suicide Squad?
I would have.
Would you?
Actually, no, because at least that was entertaining in how bad
It's
it
not
was.
entertaining. It's fucking horrible.
It wasn't boring though, was it? I was never counting
I
Stephen
was
Cowell's
bored.
Suicide Squad. I
No,
was
actually, that's true. I was
entertained.
waiting for Jared Leto to come back to be like,
I was ready to
oh,
throw
what's
up.
gonna happen next? Oh, God.
I'm so upset they came back at the end of the film. Master of None is a good season
Mhm.
too.
I've heard.
Why isn't it as good? Why isn't it as up? I don't know. It has some really strong episodes in it. I think it's just not as fast paced as like Stranger Things, and not as
Yeah.
quite. It's kind of milder. It's a mild heartache compared to like BoJack has. Obviously, every season has like this big horrible, personal revelation. Like so, it focuses on the mum this time and like why she is the way she is, and growing old and like looking back on memories and stuff like that. And that was all very horrible.
Yeah.
And gets
BoJack Horseman got a lot more depressing than I assumed that show was. So
it keeps getting worse.
it
It keeps getting more depressing. I love it.
Yeah. But I kind of like it. I kind of like how it's not like afraid to go to those places.
No.
So
It doesn't work. It does it really well.
yeah.
No, thank God.
And it's funny.
Yeah,
very
again,
funny show as well.
that balance.
Yeah.
The comedy and the drama.
Yeah.
The two masks and one's happy and one's sad.
Exactly.
And the Black
One's
Mirror's-
very happy and one's very sad.
yeah. Balance. Though.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'd probably say Game of Thrones was my favorite, but I can't say about
Right,
it.
well.
So, yeah, Black Mirror was especially strong. I feel like it was stronger than the last season.
Definitely,
actually.
yeah. There's a lot more episodes that. Except the more I think about it, the more I dislike Hang the DJ.
Yeah, everyone says that's their favorite one. I didn't think it was. I thought it was alright, but I didn't think it was my favorite of the season.
No, I think going like all throughout it, I really liked it, and then right at the end where it, just the way they explain how it works, and like so they go out and
Yeah.
I think escape. They calculate how many times you escape in spoilers in. It's a dating sim kind of. You're not really sure the whole time. You're trying to figure out is this real, is this not.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, they realize it's a kind of simulation because they keep getting. Do I need to explain the whole thing?
Well, I say
It's a whole thing.
it's pretty much just like some kind of Tinder thing that exists in the future where it matches you with someone else in the room, I guess. And
The cat has just headbutted the door, I think. I managed to get in.
And yeah, it calculates something based on a lot of made up scenarios within the phone based on yours
Whether you try to
and the other person's
Yeah.
like I don't know, like genetics, data,
This is the
DNA.
thing, like, who knows what that was about?
Yeah, it's all based on a lot of simulations to determine whether or not you'd be compatible.
Yeah.
Basically. And yeah, so it's interesting. I didn't think it was the worst one. I didn't think it was the best one.
What's the worst one for you?
The least interesting to me
Archangel?
was... that one was quite interesting. Wait, what were the other ones? There's Metalhead, Crocodile,
Oh, space.
the space one.
That was my
Either
favorite.
the space one or the last episode were my
yeah.
favorite. Black Museum, or I can't remember what the first one's called.
See something.
Were really good.
Yeah, they're really strong. That's it. So wait, it's 6.
Yeah, maybe it's just those.
Forgetting any? Wait,
Yeah, I guess maybe Metalhead then. It felt kind of like, even though it's still obviously good, like I can't make anything that good.
Just compared to the others, it felt a bit. The tone was a bit different.
Yeah, tonally,
Colours.
anything post-apocalyptic, I'm kind of a bit fatigued with.
There's a lot.
There's so much of it.
Yeah. Wait. 1 second.
I think it might be the lowest rated one. But even then, it's like, it's still pretty highly rated.
Yeah.
It's just...
Oh, USS Callister.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Hang DJ, Metalhead. Oh, no, that is it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so USS Callister was just...
It was...
The concept of that is just so...
It tied up so neatly at the end, like if there were any questions, you kind of... It's a mod of a video game.
Even though there's a bit of a stretch of logic of how they get out of it, it still worked so well.
You can glaze over it pretty easily.
Yeah.
It's not jarring at all.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's like some kind of future online kind of Second Life thing, I guess, except this developer is not very kind of socially adept at work.
Yeah.
And he's kind of developed this... He's able, if he manages to get someone's DNA, he can basically put them into a virtual reality where they exist, but he can go in and out of it like a video game, but they exist within the game forever, and they don't,
So he's kind of
he's kind of God.
Yeah, he's a very uncharismatic man who has a low opinion of people around him. I feel like that.
Yeah.
And is not treated great by people around him, but doesn't seem to make. He's kind of got this victim complex, it feels like, from the start.
Yeah.
So he creates reality where he is God and he's an asshole to everyone to make up for the fact that he's bullied in his workplace.
But he puts them in there for, like, menial things. Because he pretty much is putting them in hell. Just
punishing them,
yeah.
I think they list off, like, the reasons they're in there, and, like, one of them was...
Yeah.
I think, the...
One of them, like, didn't smile enough or something.
Oh, yeah, the receptionist didn't smile.
Yeah.
One of them calls him out for staring at her.
Yeah.
Once. Things like that. And I think the kind of one of the twists is like the guy said that it was him and this other man, like, kind of Apple relationship, and that he invented a software.
Yeah.
And the guy running the USS Callister, programmer guy, is the brains behind it, and then
they're kind of like
I
Jobs, Wozniak kind of vibe to them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what their names were in the show.
The other guy is like the face, like the charismatic guy, and it looks like at the beginning he's like this pervy, like over cocky asshole, and then really he's just more confident than he is. Like, it's revealed, like, you kind of see it through the like programmer's eyes at the beginning, and then you slowly see it through other people's eyes, and you realize you were rooting for the wrong person.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. That was cool.
Yeah.
I like how they play with that.
It was just really, really good.
To sum up,
episode.
It was a good episode. I liked. I did like Crocodile. I don't know why it's called Crocodile still.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah, that was really good.
Don't know why it's called that. Maybe that's where they are. Maybe that's the name of the place.
They never say it.
Where a couple in the middle of some
Filmed
kind
in
of
Iceland.
Iceland, I guess.
Yeah.
A couple in the middle of Iceland, whilst drink driving, they run someone over and kill them, and then they dump the body in a lake, and then I don't know, some time passes, and they've parted ways, and the guy who ran over the guy and left his body meets up with the girl that he was with when that happened, and is basically like, I can't deal with the guilt anymore. I'm gonna turn myself in. And she is like, you can't do that. otherwise they're gonna come to me and they're gonna find out. They'll know, and they'll send me away as well. So she kills him.
Uh-huh.
That's how she. That's her solution. She just kills the guy. And then it's all about. And then immediately after that, she witnesses someone getting hit by a pizza truck. And it's all about this. She's not a detective, is it?
Kind of investigator. I think
Some
she kind of
kind
is.
of investigator
detective.
for like insurance.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, because he's trying to claim
something.
insurance on the fact that on this pizza van.
Yeah.
Futuristic pizza van.
So she's got this investigator's got this future device where she can kind of see people's memories based on like sort of plugging a chip into their temple and then
Recaller.
Recaller. And she can kind of give them prompts to
remember what they
prompts,
saw.
like memories. So she like plays a song and like gives them the smell of beer that was like around the streets. And it's all about kind of her eventually finding her way to this woman who has killed people, and she's obviously very worried because that memory is linked very closely to the memory of her just killing someone.
Yeah, and at this point you don't really know how much you can control of what is on the recaller. Like you don't know if you can. You're not really sure how that works because it looks like you kind of like it's a fuzzy vision of what they would have seen, but it's like super realistic. So you don't know whether she can block this out of her mind. But then, and there's this big lead up of like, is she just gonna fucking kill her before she can even do this?
Yeah.
But she sits down and puts the recaller on, and at first it looks like there's just very quick snapshots of the events leading up to it, like trying to remember around the murder, and then as soon as like she's a pizza van, it kind of like everything else comes flashing. Like even the initial murder comes flashing back.
Like she's just panicking, I think. Yeah. Like she's because that's exactly what would happen if you were trying to not think of something. You would just start thinking about it even more. Like
it's so stressful.
That's why you'd never be able to beat that machine.
No, and then like she tries to outthink it. But then you realize that she obviously isn't aware of the fact that the investigator knows what she's just seen. So she's packing up and trying to very calmly leave, having just seen some memories of this person commit a murder.
Yeah.
And then, which kind of gives it away that she has seen it.
Yeah, she's not very subtle about it.
No,
she's kind
I
of
wouldn't
just...
be either.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrifying. And Mia is trying to explain the situation. Like I just think things sometimes it's completely unrelated.
Yeah, she's like, I just have random thoughts about things sometimes.
It just happens.
And then she just starts smashing the car window.
Yeah, just straight away.
I just smash random car windows sometimes.
Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. And then, obviously, so she has to kill her eventually because she uses the recaller on the detective again to find out that.
Just remembered the ending of this one is so ridiculous.
Oh, and then this is a horrible trial. She has to kill the detective because now she knows that she's murdered someone, and then she has to go to the detective's house because she finds out that the detective told her husband where she was going, so everyone would be looking for her. And then she goes to kill the detective's husband in
Kills
the bath.
Their baby as well.
Yeah, walks past the guinea pig. On the way.
The family has a guinea pig, that's crucial.
She walks past it.
Yeah.
And then
I think from there she goes to her daughter's like play
recital.
or something.
Yeah, like that.
Straight from there.
Throughout this the husband's been calling, like reminding her to do this, and and she's been trying to like call back without giving off the fact that she just fucking killed a person.
Yeah.
So she just goes straight there and she's just watching it, and you see the police like enter the room, and before that you see the police take the guinea pig out of the hutch, and then you see them immediately turn up at the recital. So I was like, oh, the guinea pig, I guess.
They're still holding the guinea pig, and it just puts up its little paw.
It's a shaky little tiny paw. Oh, and I forgot they put a tiny little recaller probe on its head. That's what it was. Yeah. Like a helmet that fits on a tiny guinea pig. Where did they get that? That's
they
so
gotta
silly.
prepare for any situation.
Do they have one for every animal? Like a little headset? Adorable.
Got tiny little microscopic ones for ants.
Oh, but then it's revealed that the baby that she killed was born blind.
Oh yeah, so I wouldn't have seen it anyway.
No,
it's
so that's just another
more sad.
kick in the face.
Yeah.
Why not? It's kind of predictable. It's kind of like, well, obviously this isn't. As soon as this detective character is introduced, out of kind of seemingly nowhere, you're like, she's going to die. Like, their paths are gonna meet, and there's pretty much no way you can get out of admitting for a murder without murdering more people. And that's
Yeah,
not gonna end well.
exactly.
So you knew what was gonna happen from the very beginning, but it was still horrible to watch.
Her entire logic that episode was just, if I just kill everyone who finds out about it, then I'll never go to prison.
And if not, it's too late now anyway, so I might as well, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that was a good episode, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it more than Archangel, just because sometimes the action, like the daughter. I won't explain the whole thing again, but when the daughter freaks out and like beats up the mum with the iPad.
Yeah, the ending doesn't.
It felt very like rash. Like
it does feel a bit like a weird ending.
Yeah. But, didn't know how to feel about it, but
yeah.
And then Black Museum was really good. That was really cool.
Yeah, I liked how there was like little stories within the whole episode, and it was kind of one big story at the end. It's kind of a cool way to finish the season.
Yeah, like how the big story is kind of like running parallel with the little stories that it's telling, where like he's getting more and more dehydrated. And,
and the fact that it's like you think it might be something to do with like black people, like it might be like a black museum in that way, but it's more like a Black Mirror museum.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things from past episodes in the museum, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah, and you still have to figure out yourself, and that's really cool. I like how they kind of made a meta thing. But then it is also like a commentary on, like black bodies being fetishized and kind of shown off as a spectacle. There's been a lot of talk in the last couple of years, obviously, with like the Black Lives Matter and riots and stuff like that. A lot of talk about how I feel like people feel like in news stories, dead black bodies are shown a lot more than white bodies. It seems to just be like people have a lot less squeamish about showing that kind of stuff and have a lot less respect for black bodies than they do for like dead white people.
Right.
Which is like it's how I read about, it's what I read into with the so there's the dad, I guess, who's been put in prison for murdering, and then he is uploaded onto a hologram so that he can be electrocuted like again and again and again by anyone who visits, and that's how I kind of took that to me. And
that's
and then
true.
the Kickstarter like campaign, like everyone campaigning to get this taken down, like the daughter saying it's like a violation of human rights and things like that, is how I took it to mean. Like, yeah, he's a murderer, stuff like that, but it's still
because it was like there was a point where in this museum it was popular to be able to go in there and electrocute this hologram of a person
who can still feel,
who can still feel it, but then as the kind of audience started kind of whittling away, he had to get like a more niche audience for it, and it was kind of like people who were doing it for more kind of, I don't know, like prejudice or sexual reasons.
Yeah, it was either, I think they literally say like neo-Nazis or people that get a kick out of it and stuff like that.
So yeah, I guess there is an element
definitely
of race stuff to it.
Yeah, like that has to be. And I don't know if it was intentional with saying black museum. I guess it must be, because it was literally a black person on show at a museum.
Yeah, exactly.
But the whole museum wasn't about that.
No, yeah.
I think that was pretty well done, the whole thing. And the whole discussion of like, are you still a person if you're a hologram, or if you uploaded, what is your consciousness?
Yeah, if you uploaded into a monkey.
That was all pretty horrible. That was the worst thing. The monkey thing was the worst thing. I figured that was not like in a good way, but Christ.
That was pretty fucked up.
But then it gets like a nice redeeming ending.
Yeah,
kind of.
It does. Yeah, it does kind of end in a nice, satisfying way.
Yeah. Balance. My head hurts. I've talked so much for how many minutes?
2 hours, 10 minutes? 2 hours, 15
well,
minutes?
That's alright.
Jesus Christ.
That's just fine. That's just okay.
All I have left are video games now.
Okay.
Which I can go through quickly.
Sure.
You watched me play Resident Evil 7.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I thought that was a really good game.
Yeah, that was...
GG.
Yeah, that was good to watch as a horror game. as a survival horror game, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Seems like a video game.
Especially since Resident Evil has not had a very good track record in the past few games. Like, they've all just kind of been very generic since Resident Evil 4. Yeah, it was just really cool, interesting, first-person, different vibe to it. Felt more like a horror game than survival shooter kind of.
Yeah.
It was more
like
horror.
Puzzle a bit, wasn't there? Or...
Yeah, kind of puzzle stuff to it.
And like it felt like it had a style, like it had a voice, like it had a very distinct look about it. Like someone had designed that game, as opposed to other ones I've seen, which is like, yeah, it's trying to be hyper realistic. That's about it. But
yeah,
it didn't. More cartoony.
Yeah, it didn't feel hyper real, but yeah, there's just such a grossness to it that felt very tangible. Like you really believe that world.
Yeah.
And yeah, even though it's all based around this house pretty much, and I think the latter part of the game isn't as good, where you kind of go onto like a boat and like.
I was trying to remember if that was real or not. Yeah.
I mean, I've played it several times despite that, but yeah, that was definitely one of the better games I played. Played Stardew Valley as well. Got pretty addicted to that game. I must have played almost 100 hours of that game. It's pretty much just a farming simulator.
Yeah.
And it's so addictive. Like, I hate the way that, because you pretty much have to figure out kind of how many days it takes to grow certain plants, and then you have like seasons and stuff. Yeah. But the only way you can save the game is by going to bed, which starts another day. And kind of you need to do stuff within a certain time within the day to get stuff grown, and
it's a headache to play.
Yeah, it's kind of like a kind of, I don't know, like Animal Crossing style of game. Like it's relaxed,
a lot less
really.
low stress.
Huh?
Animal Crossing is a lot less. You can't get killed in Animal Crossing. They can't get knocked out
that's true, actually,
and robbed in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, you can't die in a cave in Animal Crossing. That's true.
Wholesome.
Yeah. It's weird as well, because I did not like the game when I first played it, and I couldn't understand like why people were so into it, but then I got really into it. Yeah, that was good.
I played it a bit, and I did really get into it for a while, but I think it is really difficult. Like I think I got so there's a mine, if you are in the mine either long enough that you get exhausted because you need like a tiredness level, or you get killed by monsters, you lose a random amount of money and weapons and inventory, whatever.
Yeah.
So I lost my main weapon, and then I lost all my money, and it took me so long to get it, and I haven't played it since. I rage quitted pretty hard. And I don't like not having fun in video games. I feel like that's its only job, is to have fun and have a good time.
I really thought. Yeah, I really thought you would get into it, of all people, because you like those kind of games. But yeah.
If there was more character, I think actually the character customization and like house and sense of building a little house and life for yourself.
Yeah.
That was there. I want more of it, because I really liked Harvest Moon, the GameCube version.
Yeah.
It felt more similar to that than Animal Crossing, for me. But I think I still prefer the GameCube Harvest Crossing. Harvest Crossing?
Yeah. I still haven't played Harvest Moon. But a lot of people said it was similar.
Yeah, I guess it's most similar to the Game Boy version.
Yeah.
I only played an emulator of that ages ago. That's okay. People liked it. It's on the Switch now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. For multiplayer,
cool.
I think, as well.
What, like a revamped version? Or?
Pretty much the same thing, just
Alright.
like how Minecraft went on loads of other consoles.
Yeah.
But you can play it online with.
You're talking about Harvest Moon?
No.
Oh, right. Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
It's on the Switch. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to get Switch.
Yeah. Like 2 years later.
I really want to play so many games on the Switch. Yeah, because like, I can't even talk about like Zelda or Super Mario Odyssey because I haven't played them, but...
We have a Switch in the house right now. I haven't played it once.
Oh.
What the hell?
I want to be addicted to them.
Okay.
I can't just play them once. Yeah, and also I may have bought the Star Wars game.
Is that the one where you shoot things? Oh shit, no, is that the one that you were telling me about that everyone was angry about?
Yeah.
What are you? Why did you do that?
I don't know. I bought it because it sucks.
Yeah, obviously.
Honestly, like, look, it doesn't it's not terrible. It's a lot better than the first one was.
Mhm.
It has a lot more maps. It feels like, I mean, after a while, it just does become like any kind of like Call of Duty style
Yeah.
game. It just becomes repetitive because you're just doing the same thing over and over.
To unlock stuff and then.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
crate
no.
system is not good. It's not a good thing. I still don't agree with that. Obviously, I didn't buy any.
It just seems like a broken game.
It's it's visually really nice.
That's
Like
good.
it's so nice to look
That's
at.
good because you've been looking at it a lot because you can only do the same levels over and over again. That's good.
There was actually a surprising amount of maps to it though. Like
Alright.
I played it for like I don't know how many hours, but I was surprised when I kept seeing new maps because I thought, oh, I've seen all of these maps now, and then new ones kept coming up, and that was like
It's pretty
surprising
cool.
to me. The
Yeah.
thing that I hate the most about it is um this whole thing of needing to, so you pretty much need to get a certain, you need to get a certain amount of kills or eliminations, whatever, because it's a Disney game, so you can't kill anyone.
Right. Sure, yeah. No one dies in Star Wars, so that's fine.
Yeah. You need to shoot a certain amount of people to get a certain amount of points to be able to play as, say, like Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But you have to be so good at the game to even get the amount of points to play as them that 90% of the time when I had the amount of points to play as them, I maybe played as them for about 10 seconds before the game that game was over.
Oh, okay.
Which was
That's
so
so
annoying.
stupid. So you don't get pitted against like people that are at the same skill level?
No, you just get pitted against everyone.
Right.
And because in the first one, you would just run around the map and see like these little drop things, and you would run into it, and you'd just become like Darth Vader or something.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a much better system because
Yeah.
that was nothing to do with skill. That was just being in the
So
right place
you
at the right
like
time.
kind of choose your character for the game that way, and then you're
Yeah.
that for the rest of the match. Is that how it goes?
What in the new one?
No, the old one. The one you just talking
In
about.
the old one,
Yeah.
you play as whatever class, and
Yeah.
then you're running around the map, and then if you run into it, you suddenly become
Okay.
the
So everyone's
hero
trying to kind of
character.
find that to be it, but
Yeah,
okay.
it's the same
random.
with, yeah, it's just
Okay.
random. It's the same with like vehicles and stuff as
Yeah.
well. Like it would just be luck basically.
That's good, yeah.
But with this, it's like every time you die, you go back to this menu screen where you can pick what you want to be based on the amount of points you have. So it's really based on how good you are at the game.
Yeah, which is
And it's like it would be fine, but the bar is so difficult to get to that I just completely gave up with it.
Yeah.
Because for one, I don't care about Star Wars enough to like want to be good at it. It's not different enough to. You might as well just be playing Call of Duty. I mean, it's basically Call of Duty with a Star Wars skin over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
So like 5 stars?
5 stars. 5 stars Battlefront 2. Buy it never.
Like, oh, you knew that. You knew it was a bad game.
Yeah, I know.
And now you know it even more.
Yeah, I just wanted it because it looked pretty.
Good.
And it is. It's really visually
looks pretty.
nice.
Just play Skyrim.
Yeah, it's true.
Looks pretty.
I learned my lesson.
Does it look pretty now? It's 2018. I don't know if it looks pretty anymore.
Probably not. You probably need a lot of mods on it to make it look pretty.
Yeah. It's not doing great.
Yeah.
Have you any more games?
I have Euro Truck Simulator.
Oh, yeah. Obviously.
Which is a game where you drive a truck.
That's it.
That's the game. I got pretty
whole
into that
game.
game actually.
It's
It's very
beautiful.
relaxing.
It's surprisingly kind of easy to learn the controls of it as well. Like, I was amazed at that. And also just, it is really relaxing because you can put on radio stations. Yeah, which is the best
bit. From like
bit.
loads of different countries as well.
Because that really makes it feel like it's a road trip.
Yeah.
And
you really have to drive like with real road
rules.
Real road rules.
Yeah.
In mind.
Yeah. So you kind of, it's not boring enough that you fall asleep because you're paying attention to the road.
You
'cause
really
else
do
crash.
have to pay attention. Because
Yeah.
if you like don't turn off at the right point, you fuck up and then you get a fine.
Yeah.
And then like it's all about delivering it without getting fines,
Yeah.
basically.
I think the really cool like novelty bit for me was that it was in it. You can go to England, you can go to like Cambridge and like places that we live around. And I
Yeah.
drive on the roads that we know. I was like, this is really, it's just really bizarre.
Yeah,
Driving on like
exactly.
a condensed version, like a simplified version of roads that are really familiar to you in a video game. That was really cool, bizarre.
Yeah.
But then we didn't play it after 3 days. Like, I think played it 3 days straight, and that
yeah,
was it.
Yeah, I mean, I played it for a while just because, as you said, the novelty of seeing what the different cities and like even different European like how the roads are and
Yeah,
like the
that's kinda
countrysides
cool.
and stuff. It's like really very detailed for
Yeah.
a simple game. It's really nice.
That's a pretty game actually.
But
That was good graphics.
it's a very kind of novelty element to it,
Yeah.
and it's like after a while you're just kind of driving down the highway and you're like, what am I doing with my life? I'm driving a simulation truck.
Yeah, and you have to switch off and go outside immediately. Otherwise, it's really upsetting.
I'm literally just holding down W.
Yeah.
This is not playing a game.
I think that's the new Black Mirror episode actually.
Yeah,
Truck
exactly.
Simulator. It was fine.
So I had to stop.
It was fun while it
But
lasted.
yeah, I had my fun with it.
I think my only game is I played Sims 3 a whole lot
Yeah.
this year. I don't know what happened this summer. I just got really, really, really into it and played it every single day for 2 months, 3 months, for more than an hour. I just really needed it, I guess. And then we got Sims 4.
Yeah.
Didn't
Actually,
have
yeah, I think this year I played Sims 4 more for the first time, really. Because at first I wasn't really into it.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the idea of it, and now I kind of
Still-
prefer it.
What? Further Sims 3? I went back to Sims 3. Like, I play that more now, recently. I still play it. But Sims 4,
They both have things that I like about them, I think.
it just feels much more empty. I've downloaded a lot of custom content and a lot of it doesn't work because it glitches out, and I've googled it. That's just a known problem. There's a lot of things with EA where like, oh, this doesn't work. I'll just Google to see if there's a solution real quick, and then it's just so many forums like, yeah, no, they know this is a problem. They're not doing anything to solve it. They know.
Yeah.
Like,
doesn't
okay,
surprise me.
no.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot of customization. I can't project onto the Sims that I've made so I can like them, so I can be engaged in the game that I'm playing, which is really
Yeah.
all Sims 3 is, like all Sims is. And the clothes, making a Sim is kind of cool, I guess. But
What, in Sims 4?
yeah, like that's a cool improvement. But then there's just the fact that they go off to work and fade out.
Yeah,
like,
they've taken a lot of shit. I mean, we're talking about this 5 years too late, but
Yeah, whoops.
they've taken so much out that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, just so many
And-
shortcuts that they didn't need to make, and the UI
Yeah.
looks really cheap. Like the font looks really rubbish. Like there's a lot of things that like a really cheap game, when other things look like when you do go to like parks and whatever, the graphics are actually really nice and the lighting is really cool
Yeah.
and it does look very good. But then just all the UI is really old and weird looking, and I just need to see like what happened while they were making. What happened? What did they go through?
Yeah.
I
I
wish.
just really hope they take on board that they should have gone. That
Like
they
open
did
world.
go backwards.
Yeah.
With the next game, if they make another one, which I'm sure they will, because
Yeah.
people will buy it, so obviously they'll make money,
They'll
so
buy
obviously
it.
they'll do it.
Mm.
But it would just be nice if they just had the passion to take on board
Make a good game.
the fact that
Just
people want a certain type of game, and
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, it doesn't. Like, it seems like the reason that they did it was because they wanted people who had lower end computers to be able to run the game,
Right,
which
yeah.
is fair enough. But it's also like you just can't go backwards because
Yeah.
people who already like
Already brought it
It
and
just-
had like.
yeah, it just doesn't work.
It just has to be open
Doesn't
world.
make sense.
It just has to be open world. That's it. Just make it so I can walk somewhere
Yeah.
and then not have a loading screen that takes you out of it. I know Sims 2 did that, but I felt like I got used to that fairly quickly. It just feels too jarring now, and I can't get into it, and I'm
Yeah.
bored of it. That's okay. But Animal Crossing Pocket Camp came
Yeah.
out this year, and it's for free as well. It wasn't even £30. Not that I paid for Sims 4, but it wasn't.
That's
Animal Crossing wasn't even expensive.
good.
And you should just play it
And
every
you've
day,
been
haven't I?
obsessed with it.
Hmm?
And And you've been obsessed with it.
I played it every day for a month.
Yeah.
I played is like a subjective word. I have gone on it and tapped around a little bit and then gone off it again and then gone on it an hour later. But like all day, every day for the first 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm level 41, if anyone's wondering.
Add me.
Add me. My number, that's like a long-term Apple ID. Apple ID? No, just ID. How scary is
is it like that?
Generates a code and then you could do the code.
It's fucking Nintendo. Don't understand how online works.
No, they can't get it.
Yeah.
How scary is it that I can't say ID without saying Apple ID?
That's scary. They're in your brain.
A little bit. I want an Animal Crossing like full game to happen for the Switch. I don't understand why it hasn't happened yet. It must be happening. Please tell me it's happening.
Since the last one's come out.
Yeah. This feels like it's kind of because they updated New Leaf to have like a camp bit where NPCs come at their little like vans and you can go inside and like get furniture you wouldn't be able to get from a normal one. Not for like real world money, just it's a bit rarer, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you get tickets. It's like a different currency. So it feels like they're slowly introducing this whole camp thing.
Yeah.
So just give it to us. We're ready. We'll buy the game if you make it. And they did Happy Home Academy or a game where you can just design homes. Happy Home Designer.
Is that like an add-on?
It's a full game, but it's definitely a spin-off game where you just design houses, which was obviously a big part of the game anyway. But I just want another Animal Crossing game. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah. There's clearly like a huge fan base for it, so I imagine they will.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I have to say on this year.
Yeah.
It was fine.
So that was 2017.
It was okay. Well, no, it wasn't, was it?
Okay.
Globally, car crash.
In terms of
dumpster fire.
Media, headlines, politics, not great.
Very bad. In terms of content.
We don't like talking about that.
In terms of not a political podcast. In terms of content, all right.
Yeah.
Not.
In terms of the content we took in.
7 out of 10. 2017. So hopefully
20 out of 17.
Yep. So hopefully this will be 8 out of 10. If my logic has any standing whatsoever.
Sure, if this pattern's going anywhere.
Yeah, if the sentence has got an end. Now.
Yeah, so I don't know what we're going to be talking about next time. I guess we'll have to figure it out. I guess it'll have to be a surprise.
For everyone.
Yeah, for even us.
Yep. Alright. Wait.
Oh, is that how you're gonna leave it? I was gonna say, if you even made it to this point, I don't believe you. I don't believe you listened to this whole thing. Go back and listen properly.
Maybe we can split it into
You did not
two.
listen to this for 2.5 hours.
Maybe we can split it into 2.
No way.
Please. We're gonna have minus subscribers. We're gonna have minus views. They're gonna take views away from us for having a 2-hour long.
This has never been about views. This is about.
This has never been about anything. We talk about. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Well, if you did listen, thank you. And yeah, we'll be back pretty soon with a new subject. That's really good.
Sweet.
All right. Goodbye.
Press and stop.